Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be covering complete Unit 1 in Computer Network subject. I will explain all these topics in detail. I will explain what is network, what is computer network, uses and features of computer network, types of computer networks, and network topologies, network software, what is protocol. I will give some examples. And next, what is service interface, layered network architecture. We also call it as hierarchy of protocols. Reasons for using layered protocols. Services provided by layers in layered model. What is OSI model? 7 layers of OSI reference model. What is TCP/IP model? And I will explain similarities and differences between OSI and TCP/IP model. Types of network connections. We also call it as transmission technologies. And I will explain what is ARPANET, ARPANET design. We also call it as ARPANET architecture. And what is Internet, futures and history of Internet, difference between Internet and Intranet, and Internet architecture. And at last I will explain what is transmission media. I will explain guided transmission media and unguided transmission media in detail. I will explain all these topics in detail. And whatever the topics that I am going to cover in this video, I will provide all those topics and the timings in description. You can check in description. Guys, I will provide computer network subject handwritten notes in description. You can download from description. Guys, I have uploaded complete computer network subject tutorials. I will provide that link in description. You can watch from there. If you are watching this video for the first time, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Let's get started. At first I will explain what is network. A network is a group of things that are connected to each other. These things can be people, places or devices that share information. Guys, for example, there are a group of friends talking to each other. As all friends are connected to each other, we call it as network. For example, Hyderabad is near to Delhi. As both places are connected to each other, we call it as network. For example, I will on Bluetooth in my mobile and I will transfer files from my mobile to my friend mobile. As my and my friend mobile both are connected to each other by using Bluetooth, so we call it as network. So network is nothing but group of things that are connected to each other, and things can be either people or places or devices. And all of these things are connected to each other in order to share information. This is example. If you consider telephone network will connect multiple phones, so people can talk to each other. This is example of network. Next I will explain what is computer network. A computer network is a system where two or more devices or computers that are connected so they can share information and resources. These devices communicate with each other using wires or wireless signals. Guys, I will give one example so that you can clearly understand what is computer network. For example, by using cable, I will connect my computer with mobile and I will copy songs from my computer to mobile. As both devices are connected to each other, we call it as computer network. Thus, network is nothing but connection of things like places, people, devices, etc. Whereas computer network is nothing but connection of devices, and connection can be either wired or wireless. Here in this example, I connected my computer and mobile using cable. So this is considered as wired connection. Same example, now I will connect my computer and mobile using Bluetooth. As both devices are connected to each other by using Bluetooth, so we consider it as wireless connection. Wired connection is nothing but connecting devices with cables, whereas wireless connection is nothing but connecting devices using Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Guys, in computer network, we will connect devices in order to share information and resources. For example, by using computer, we will share information like messages, songs, movies, etc. I will give example of resources. For example, I want to print some pages by using printer. So I will connect my computer with printer in order to print pages. So this printer is considered as resource. So in computer networks, we will connect devices in order to share information and resources. And this connection can be either wired or wireless. These are examples of computer network. And the first one is connecting mobile phone to Wi-Fi in order to access internet. And second example is using network like internet in my computer. I will send email or message to my friend. And third example is in office, all employees will connect their computers with printer in order to print files. All these are examples of computer network. Next I will explain uses of computer networks nowadays. Guys, we will use computer networks for communication, like we can send emails, WhatsApp messages, video calls that helps people stay connected. And businesses also use computer networks for meetings and teamwork, like they will use Zoom, Microsoft Teams, etc. for communication. And second one is internet access. Guys, we need network in order to access websites, in order to browse YouTube videos, and in order to get information online. And third one is file sharing. Guys, we also need network in order to share files. Employees in a company share files, documents, and software through a network. And also, by using printer, we can connect to multiple computers and we can print files. So printer act as resource. And fourth one is online shopping and banking. Guys, by using Flipkart and Amazon websites, we can purchase products online. And we also need internet banking in order to transfer money, check balance, etc. And fifth one is entertainment. Guys, by using network, we can watch movies using Amazon Prime, Netflix, etc. And we can also listen songs, play online games, and we can also watch online TV. And sixth one is social media and news. Guys, in order to access social media platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, YouTube, etc., we need network. And by using network, we can also see online newspapers. And seventh one is business and work. Guys, in software companies, various employees will work from home from different locations. All of these people stay connected by using network. So employees work on the same project from different locations using a company network. And companies also use network in order to sell products, manage orders, and store customer data. And eighth one is smart homes and IoTs. Guys, at present, most of them are using smart devices like smart lights, CC cameras, etc. So in order to use smart devices, we need network. And by using mobile, we can operate CC cameras. So by using network, people can monitor their homes from anywhere. And ninth one is mobile networks. Guys, even by using mobiles, we can use internet online. Mobiles support 3G, 4G and 5G networks by which we can access network. And last one is healthcare and online services. Nowadays, so many online apps are available in order to consult with doctors. For example, MFIN app. So patients will consult to doctors online using apps like MFIN. And hospitals also need network in order to store patient information. Guys, all these are the reasons why we are using computer networks nowadays. So a computer network is a powerful tool that connects computers, people, devices to share information and resources. It is used in homes, offices, businesses, education, entertainment, and healthcare. So today, networks make life faster, easier, and more connected. Next, I will explain features of computer networks. Computer networks have several key features that makes them useful for communication and data sharing. These are key features of computer networks. And the first one is connectivity. Guys, by using computer networks, we can connect to multiple devices like computers, printers, mobile phones, etc. And connection can be either wired or wireless. So first feature is connectivity. And second one is resource sharing. Guys, by using computer networks, we can share resources like files, softwares, printer, internet, etc. And third one is communication. Guys, by using computer networks, we can communicate with other devices. Like we can send emails, we can send messages, video calls, voice calls, etc. And fourth one is scalability. Guys, scalability is nothing but expandability. Guys, we can add more devices in network without affecting performance. So scalability is nothing but expandability. And fifth one is reliability. Guys, by using network, whatever the files that are present in our computer, we can store that files in multiple computers by using network. For example, if there is any loss of data, simply you can restore your data from other computers. So by using network, we can do backup and recovery. So computer network provides backup and recovery options to prevent data loss. And sixth one is security. Guys, by using network, we can securely transfer our data from one computer to another computer. And we can achieve security by using firewalls, encryption technique, and authentication. That is nothing but giving passwords to protect our data. And seventh one is speed. Guys, computer networks are very fast. We can transfer data within seconds. So enables fast data transfer between connected devices. And eighth one is flexibility. Guys, in computer network, we can connect devices by using wires or wireless. Wired is nothing but we can use Ethernet cables in order to connect devices, and wireless is nothing but we can connect devices using Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. And ninth one is cost efficient. Guys, instead of purchasing devices, we can connect to other devices and we can use. For example, I want to use high configuration computer for my office work. So instead of purchasing computer, what I can do is, by using internet, I can connect to my friend's high configuration computer and I can use. And last one is centralized data management. Guys, normally in software companies, complete data is stored in one server. Guys, server is nothing but 24/7 running high configuration computer. Guys, each and every software company contains server and complete company information is stored in this server. So this server must work 24/7. For example, if you consider Amazon.in, whenever you open Amazon website, that website is available to you because that website is running 24/7 in Amazon company server. So server is nothing but 24/7 running high configuration computer. In software companies, complete data is stored in server and all employees are connected to the server in order to access information and in order to store files. So software companies store data on centralized servers for easy access and management. All these are the features of computer networks. Next I will explain various types of computer networks. At first I will explain types of computer networks. A computer network is a group of connected computers and devices that can share information and resources. Guys, if we connect to computers and devices, then we call it as computer network. And we will connect to devices in order to share information, like in order to share messages, songs, movies, etc. And in order to share resources. For example, multiple computers will connect to printer in order to print files. So here printer acts as resource. So computer network means connecting computers and devices together in order to share information and resources. There are different types of networks based on size, function and technology. Based on size and distance, computer networks are classified into 4 types. They are personal area network, local area network, metropolitan area network and wide area network. And based on function, computer networks are classified into 2 types. They are client server network and peer-to-peer network. And based on connection type, computer networks are classified into 2 types. They are wide network and wireless network. I will explain each of them in detail. At first, I will explain based on size and distance. Based on size and distance, computer networks are classified into 4 types. And the first one is PAN, that is personal area network. A personal area network connects devices that are close to one person. It covers a very small area, that is a few meters. These are examples of personal area network. Just for example, in my mobile, I will on Bluetooth and I will connect to wireless earphones. This is one example. And next example is, I will connect to my mobile with smartwatch. And third example is, I will connect a wireless keyboard and mouse to my computer. If we go long, this device cannot communicate. So all are very short distance connections, that is only few meters away. These are examples of personal area network. Guys, in PAN, that is in personal area network, we can connect devices either using wires or wireless. If we connect a device using wires, we call it as wide PAN, and if we connect a device using wireless, we call it as wireless PAN. So in wide PAN, we will connect a device using cables, and whereas in wireless PAN, we will connect a device using Bluetooth or infrared waves or Wi-Fi. TV remote will send signals to TV by using infrared waves. They are light waves. Okay, these are advantages of PAN. And the first one is no need for extra cables. Guys, as PAN will cover very small distance, there is no need of extra wires. It is very easy to use. And second advantage is works automatically when devices are nearby. For example, by keeping two mobiles side by side, we can on Bluetooth and we can share files. So PAN works automatically when devices are nearby. And this PAN is suitable for personal use. Guys, if you want to connect 100 devices, then PAN is not suitable. But if you want to connect only 1 or 2 devices, then PAN is suitable for you. So PAN is suitable for personal use. And these are disadvantages of PAN. And the first one is works only in small area, that is only few meters. Guys, by using PAN, we can connect to devices that are only few meters away. PAN is not suitable for long distance communication. And by using PAN, we can only connect a few devices. Guys, this is simple example of PAN. I will connect a wireless keyboard, mouse and printer to my computer. This is simple example of PAN. Guys, not only wireless, you can also give wide connection. As only single person will use this computer, PAN is suitable only for personal use. Next I will explain what is local area network. Shortly we call it as LAN. A local area network connects computers in one small area like a home, school or office. Guys, LAN will cover small area. For example, there is college. Inside college, each floor contains one computer lab. And in computer labs, all computers are connected to each other. As computers are connected only within the college, we call it as local area network. As for example, there is an office. In this office, employees are working in 3 floors and all these computers are connected to each other. These are 2 examples of LAN. Guys, there are 2 types of LANs. They are wired LAN and wireless LAN. In wired LAN, we will connect devices using cables. Guys, when compared to wireless connection, in wired connection, data will be transferred very fast. So wired LANs are very fast when compared to wireless LANs. And whereas in wireless LAN, we will use Wi-Fi in order to transfer data. In local area network, data is transferred in the form of radio waves. And in wireless LAN, in order to transfer data, we need router. These are advantages of LAN. And the first one is fast speed. Guys, in LAN, all computers are very nearby. That is, they are located in college itself. So data will be transferred very fast. And LAN is secure because outside people cannot access our data. Only students in the college can communicate each other. Outside people cannot see our data. So data is secure. And when compared to larger networks, this local area network is very cheap. These are disadvantages of LAN. And the first one is works only in limited area. That is one building. As I already said before, LAN will work only within the building. Outside people cannot enter to this network. And if you want to make this setup, you need routers, switches and cables in order to connect these computers. Guys, this is structure of wireless LAN. All laptops are connected to access point, that is router. This is wireless connection and they will communicate each other. Guys, access point is nothing but this device like router where all devices will connect to access point. This is example of wired LAN. As for example, there is college. In college lab, all computers are connected to switch. Guys, in your computer lab, you can see small box where all computers are connected to it. We call that box as switch. This is example of wired LAN. Next, I will explain what is WAN, that is wide area network. A wide area network connects computers over a large geographical area, that is multiple cities or countries. The biggest WAN is the internet. Guys, I will give one example so that you can clearly understand what is WAN. Guys, for example, there is one software company. This software company, one branch is in Hyderabad location, one branch is in US, and next branch is in Delhi. So this Hyderabad building is one local area network, and this USA building is one local area network, and office in Delhi is one local area network. For example, employee in Hyderabad location want to send some important files to employee in US location. So by using internet, he will send files to employee who is in US location. And similarly, employees in USA and Delhi will communicate each other to share some important files and data. As all these local area networks are communicating each other, then we call it as wide area network. Whereas if you consider local area network will cover only single building for communicating devices. And whereas by using wide area network, multiple cities and multiple countries can communicate each other. And all these devices can communicate by using internet. So internet is one of the biggest wide area network where it will connect a complete world. For example, by using my mobile, I can video call to my friend who is in other country. So by using internet, we can connect to any device in this world. So internet is considered as wide area network. And WAN will work based on telephone lines and fiber optics. Guys, fiber optics are nothing but they are cables which are used to connect the devices. And WAN will work based on satellites and data will be transferred by electromagnetic waves. These are advantages of WAN. And the first one is connect to people and businesses worldwide. Complete world can communicate each other by using wide area network and allows data sharing over the long distance. Guys, by using WAN, that is by using internet, we can share data over long distance. Like I can send files to my friend who is in other countries. And third advantage is good for multinational companies. Guys, multinational companies are nothing but companies that have various kinds of branches. So all employees in branches can communicate each other. Next, these are disadvantages. And the first one is slower than local area network and metropolitan area network. Guys, if you consider LAN will cover only single area, that is like single building. So data will be transferred very fast. But whereas if you consider WAN, in WAN, data will be traveled over long distance. So data transfer is slow when compared to LAN and metropolitan area network. Guys, in WAN, complete world will communicate. So we need various kinds of equipments. So we need various kinds of devices and cables in order to create WAN, and maintaining WAN is very costly. And next problem is security. By using internet, we will send data to others. So hackers may hack our data. Guys, WAN contains two parts. They are hosts and subnet. Guys, for example, I'm in Hyderabad. I want to send some important office files to my friend who is in UK. As my computer and my friend computer both want to communicate each other, like we want to transfer files. So my computer is considered as host and my friend computer is also considered as host. Computer which want to communicate each other using network, we call those computers as host. Guys, my computer and my friend computer both are connected by using various kinds of devices and cables in network. For example, in my house, my laptop is connected to router, various kinds of cables connected to various routers in different locations. And at last my data will be transferred to my friend. Guys, there are different routers in different locations and these routers are connected by using cables. We call these cables as transmission lines. So transmission lines are nothing but they are cables. And we call this router as switching element as it will transfer our data. Get these transmission lines and switching elements. We call this both as communication system. This communication system is nothing but it is subnet. So subnet is nothing but it is the communication system. It is combination of transmission lines. They are nothing but cables. Yes, not only cables. There can also be wireless signals and also switching elements. They are nothing but routers. So subnets contain transmission lines and switching elements. Yes, switching elements are special devices. They are used to carry our data. Example, routers. Yes, next I will explain various types of WAN connections. And the first one is laser lines. We also call them as dedicated connection. Where some companies will rent transmission lines from telecom companies. As companies are renting transmission lines from telecom companies, data will be transferred securely, but it is expensive. And second one is virtual private network. There some companies will create private networks by using internet. So some companies will rent virtual private networks from other companies for communication. Yes, when compared to laser lines, these virtual private networks are cheaper. But it is not that much secure because these virtual private networks depends on internet to work. So hackers may hack your data. And another way to take wide area network connection is by using internet service providers. Yes, if you consider GeoNet, Act, FiberNet and AirtelNet, they all will provide us internet connections. So we call them as internet service providers because they will provide us internet service. So businesses and people like us will connect to internet through an internet service providers like Jio, Airtel, BSNL, etc. So previously they are telephone networks and later on they converted telephone networks to internet networks. That is why everyone can access internet by using these internet service providers. Guys, wireless WAN can communicate either by using satellite or mobile networks. So WAN uses satellite in space to send and receive data, and all computers in the network can receive same signals. Example, DTH TV. Everyone are watching various TV channels and all are getting signals because of satellites. The satellites are present in space where they will provide signals to all computers connected in the network. And we can also access wireless LANs using mobile networks. That's in olden days. There is 1G network where we used 1G network only for voice calls. And next to 2G network. In 2G network, mobile companies improved voice calls. Yes, 1G network is analog. That means whenever we speak in call, that voice is transferred slowly in the network. This is analog. And whereas 2G is digital. That means whenever we speak in phone call, the data is traveled in the form of zeros and ones. 3G, that is third generation. Here mobile companies improved network, where mobile companies allowed both voice calls and we can also send data using internet. And next one is 4G network. This is high-speed mobile internet. And next one is 5G. At present we are using 5G. This 5G mobile networks will provide super fast internet. Where this is structure of WAN. There are 3 local area networks. This is one company branch, other company branch and other company branch. All are connected by using internet, where internet is wide area network. And this connection is established by using subnets, routers and cables. Together form subnet. Next I will explain difference between local area network and wide area network. Yes, LAN will cover small area, so speed is very fast. And WAN will cover complete globe, so data transfer speed is very low. So LAN will cover small area, so it is very easy to design and maintain. And creating and maintaining WAN is very tough. If you want to create local area network, we need only few devices. So it is very cheap. And if you consider WAN, creating WAN is very tough. We need so many devices like cables, routers, etc. office Wi-Fi, school computer lab, all these are examples of LAN. Software company branches in various countries. All are communicating each other. This is example of WAN. Guess LAN is fast. Data will be transferred 100 MB per second to 10 GB per second. And whereas in WAN, data transfer speed is slower, that is 10 MB per second to 100 MB per second. Guess we can create LAN by using Ethernet cables and Wi-Fi connections. And whereas we can create WAN by using fiber optic cables, satellites and mobile networks. LAN is used by only single company or individual. And whereas WAN is owned by multiple organizations or telecom companies. These companies are maintaining WAN. Thus, LAN will cover only shorter distance. So there is less chance for connection break. And whereas WAN will cover long distance. So there may be chance for signal break. Guys, in LAN, only computers in one building will communicate each other. So it is secure. And whereas in WAN, it is less secure. These are differences between local area network and wide area network. Next, I will explain what is metropolitan area network. Shortly we call it as MAN. A metropolitan area network is bigger than LAN but smaller than WAN. It connects multiple LANs in a city or town. Guys, I will give a simple example so that you can clearly understand what is metropolitan area network. Guys, for example, there is an university. One university building is located in one area, next building in other area, and next building in other area. Guys, this building is within city but in different areas. Yes, whereas if you consider LAN, LAN will cover only one building. And whereas if you consider WAN, WAN will cover complete world. But here, we are connecting multiple buildings within city. So it is considered as metropolitan area network. It is bigger than LAN because it is covering 3 buildings. And it is smaller than WAN because it is only within the city. It is not covering outside the city. Example, 3 university buildings connecting to each other in different areas within the city. Thus, in metropolitan area network, we can connect to different LANs by using fiber optic cables. There are cables which are used for internet connections, and we need routers and wireless links in order to connect to different LANs. Thus, we will use metropolitan area network for internet and TV broadcasting. Whereas LAN will cover only single building, whereas if you consider MAN, MAN will cover whole city. And when compared to wide area network, metropolitan area network will transfer data very fast and it is more secure. And MAN will allow multiple buildings to share data. These are disadvantages. And the first one is expensive to set up and maintain. Thus, when compared to LAN, MAN is expensive and hard to set up. And when compared to LAN, MAN needs more equipments like routers, cables and wireless towers in order to create network. This is how metropolitan area network started and became more advanced at present. As in past, some areas have very poor TV signals. So in order to overcome this problem, there are so many antennas placed in different hills in order to capture signals. And then these antennas will send signals to houses by using cables. This is how TV cable networks started. And later on, these TV cable networks are converted to metropolitan area networks. Thus, technology is improved. So company expanded the network that will cover entire cities. And cable TV companies offered various kinds of TV channels like sports, news, etc. And when internet became popular, these TV companies modified their network to provide internet connections. So this is how TV cable connections converted to metropolitan area networks. Metropolitan area networks can provide both TV signals and internet signals. Thus, cable TV is not only example of MAN. This WiMAX is another example of MAN. This WiMAX is high-speed wireless internet technology that will provide internet access to cities and large areas. Guys, this is how metropolitan area network works based on cable TV. So there is antenna which will provide signals and there is junction box placed in each area. This antenna, internet server and junction box all are connected to central control system which will control signals, and each and every house is connected to junction box by using fiber optic cables. They are black cables. These cables are connected to junction box. Next, I will explain classification of computer networks based on function. Guys, based on function, computer networks are classified into 2 types. They are client-server network and peer-to-peer network. At first, I will explain what is client-server network. Guys, client-server network contains 2 types of computers. They are clients and servers. Server is a powerful computer that stores data and handle user requests. And whereas clients are the computers that will connect to servers in order to access files and resources. Guys, I will give one example so that you can clearly understand what is client and what is server. Guys, for example, I want to purchase mobile in Amazon.in. So what I will do is, I will open Google and I will log in into Amazon.in, and in Amazon website, I will search for mobiles like mobiles below 10,000 rupees. So whenever I search for mobiles below 10,000 rupees, the request is passed to Amazon company server. Guys, each and every company contains servers. Servers are nothing but they are high configuration computers. That computers will work 24/7 in order to provide service to clients. So whenever I send request, that information is passed to Amazon company server. Guys, Amazon company contains various servers. In that servers, complete product information is stored. So whenever I search for mobiles below 10,000 rupees, that is whenever I send request, this Amazon company server will provide me response. Like it will display all computers below 10,000 rupees. So as I am sending request, my computer acts as client, and whereas server is the powerful computer that will store data and then it will provide information to users. Okay, these are advantages of client server model. And the first one is fast data access because server is powerful. Just whenever you send request, immediately you will get response because server is fast. And second advantage is centralized control. Guys, server is nothing but it is powerful computer where it will store all files and it manages complete data. And third advantage is better security. Guys, data is stored in server and server is present in company location. So data will be secure. These are disadvantages. And the first one is if server fail, all clients stop working. Guys, if server fails, all clients cannot get information. Guys, each and every software company contains servers, and in order to maintain the servers, they need to hire employees. So we need special trained person to manage servers. And based on function, next kind of network is peer-to-peer network. A peer-to-peer network has no central server. All computers are equal and can share files directly. Guys, I will give an example. Guys, in peer-to-peer network, all computers act as both clients and servers. So there is no central server in order to provide information. So each and every computer can send information and can receive information. So in peer-to-peer network, all computers are connected directly and they can share files each other. These are advantages of peer-to-peer network. And the first one is no need for server. Guys, in this network, each and every computer acts as client and server. Whenever that computer wants information, that computer acts as client. Whenever that computer provides information, it acts as server. So there is no need for central server. Each and every computer can share files. And it is very easy to set up. And if you are using any small network, then this peer-to-peer network is suitable for you. These are disadvantages. And the first one is not secure. Guys, each and every computer contains files. And we can share files to everyone. So it is not secure. Guys, for example, this computer is not working. So this person cannot get files from this computer. So if one computer is not working, its files become unavailable. Guys, based on technology, computer networks are classified into two types. They are wide network and wireless network. Guys, wide network is nothing but we will connect a device using cables. And wide connection is fast when compared to wireless connection. And whereas if you consider wireless network, in wireless network, devices are connected either using Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or mobile data. Here, instead of passing data using cables, data is passed in the form of radio signals. And when compared to wide network, data transfer is slow in wireless networks. And there is no need cables for connection. So wireless networks are easy to connect. Next, I will explain what is network topology. Network topology refers to the physical or logical arrangements of computers, cables and other devices in a network. It determines how data flows between devices and how they are connected. Guys, how we will connect computers and other devices in a network physically. We call that structure as network topology. For example, in some companies we will connect computers in circular manner. In some other companies we will connect computers line by line. So different companies will follow different structure. We call this structure as network topology. By seeing this arrangement, you can clearly know how data will flow between devices and how they are connected. So network topology is nothing but it is physical or logical arrangement of computers, cables and other devices in a network. By seeing this arrangement, you can clearly know how data will flow between devices and how these devices are connected. Guys, there are four types of network topologies. They are bus topology, star topology, ring topology and mesh topology. I will explain each of them. At first, I will explain what is bus topology. Guys, in bus topology, All computers are connected to a single central cable called bus or backbone. Guys, in bus topology, we will connect all nodes. Nodes are nothing but computers. So in bus topology, we will connect all computers to a single central cable, and we call this central cable as bus, or we also call this cable as backbone. In bus topology, data is sent in both directions along the cable. Guys, in bus topology, data will be sent in this direction and as well as in this direction along with the cable. And whenever one computer sends data, all remaining computers which are connected will receive the data. But only one computer which wants the data will accept the data. Remaining all will discard the data. I'll give an example. Let's for example, this computer wants to send data to this computer. So what this computer will do is, this computer will add data along with this computer address. So whenever this computer sends data, all computers will receive the data, as there is no address match. After receiving data, all computers will reject the data, and here there is address match. So this computer will read that message. So in bus topology, even though all computers receive data, only one computer which wants message will read the data based on address. Just for example, imagine there are shops line by line in one street, and there is water supply given to each and every house. And in middle, there is any pipeline breakage, then all shops will not receive water. In same way, even in bus topology, for example, if there is any cable breakage, devices cannot communicate each other. These are advantages of bus topology. And the first one is simple and cost effective. Guys, when compared to other topologies, bus topology requires less cable, so it is cheaper. And second one is easy to install. Guys, simply we will connect all our computers to single cable, so it is very easy to install. And third advantage is best for small networks. Guys, if all computers are in single room, and if there are only few computers in that room, in that situation, bus topology is suitable. These are disadvantages. And the first one is single point of failure. Guys, bus topology completely depends on single cable. We call that cable as bus or backbone. If there is any failure to that cable, devices cannot communicate each other. And second one is performance issues. If we connect more devices to that cable, then network will become slow. And third disadvantage is data collisions. Guys, in bus topology, if two computers send data at a time, then collision will occur, that is clash will occur, and communication will become slow. This is all about bus topology. Next I will explain star topology. In star topology, all computers are connected to a central device. The device can be hub or switch. Plus hub and switch, they are devices that will look like router. So in star topology, we will connect our devices either to hub or switch. So this hub or switch will transfer our data between devices. This is structure. Nodes are nothing but computers. So one server and all computers are connected to hub. For example, this is in one floor, and in next floor, all computers are connected to hub, and we will connect to these two hubs. For example, this computer wants to send data to this computer. So at first data is transferred to hub. From this hub, data will be transferred to this hub. From this hub, data will be transferred to this computer. So in star topology, there will be central device called hub, or you can also use switch. They are devices like routers. They will transfer data from one computer to other computer. These are advantages of star topology. And the first one is easy to troubleshoot. Guys, for example, if you consider bus topology, if there is cable break, all devices cannot communicate each other. But whereas if you consider star topology, in star topology, if one computer fails, remaining computers will work. So even though if there is one computer fail, there is no problem. And second advantage is fast performance. Guys, all computers are connected to switch or hub, so data will be transferred very fast. And next advantage is scalable. As if you want to connect some other computers to this network, then simply you can connect to hub and you can use. Adding new computers will not affect other computers. So scalable means new computers can be easily added without affecting others. These are disadvantages of star topology. Another first one is central device failure. Guys, I already said before, star topology depends on central device like hub or switch. So if hub or switch fails, then entire network will stop working. And second one is expensive. Guys, in star topology, you need to purchase hub or switch in order to create network. And again, you need to purchase cables in order to connect the devices to hub. So when compared to bus topology, star topology is costly. And third topology is ring topology. Guys, in ring topology, each computer is connected to exactly two other computers, forming a circle. This is structure. If you consider this computer, this computer is connected to exactly 2 computers. And similarly, this computer is connected to 2 computers. And similarly, this computer is connected to 2 computers. So in ring topology, each and every computer is connected to exactly 2 other computers, forming a circle, that is ring. That is why we call it as ring topology, because arrangement is in the form of ring. Thus in ring topology, data will be transferred in one direction or in 2 directions. If we transfer data in one direction, we call it as unidirection, and if we transfer data in both directions, we call it as bidirection. Yes, for example, this computer wants to transfer data to this computer. So at first, data is sent to this computer and again to this computer, and from this computer data is sent to this computer, and at last this computer will receive the data. So if a computer receives data, it forwards it to next computer in the ring until it reaches the destination. These are advantages of ring topology, and the first one is no data collisions. Even though if 2 computers send data at a time in ring topology, there is no problem. Network will not become slow. So multiple computers can send data at a time in ring topology. And second one is better performance. Thus ring topology can handle large amount of data when compared to bus topology, so it will give better performance. And third advantage is less cable required. Thus when compared to mesh topology, ring topology will use only few cables. These are disadvantages. And the first one is one failure can stop the network. Guys, I already said before, this computer wants to send data to this computer. For example, here there is connection break. So this computer cannot send data to this computer. Not only cable break. For example, if this computer is not working, this computer cannot send data to this computer. So if one computer or cable fails, the entire network stops working. And next one is adding new computers is difficult. As if you want to add new computers, at first you need to stop that network and you need to connect new computer. So adding new computer is difficult because we need to stop entire network in order to add new computer. And third disadvantage is slower than star topology. Guys, when compared to star topology, this ring topology is slower because we need to send data from multiple devices. Data must be passed from multiple computers. So ring topology is slower. And next one is mesh topology. Guys, in mesh topology, each computer is connected to other computers directly, and data will be sent from multiple paths in order to reach destination. Guys, mesh topologies are classified into 2 types. They are full mesh and partial mesh. In full mesh, each and every device is connected to all remaining devices. For example, this computer is connected to this computer, this computer, this computer and this computer. Similarly, each and every computer is connected to all remaining computers in the network. For example, this computer wants to send data to this computer. So this computer will take this path or this path or this path. Based on speed, nodes can take different ways in order to send data. And whereas if you consider partial mesh, here connection is only between some devices. For example, this computer is connected to this computer and this computer. For example, if you consider this computer is not connected to this computer. So in partial mesh, connection will be only between few devices. These are advantages of mesh topology, and the first one is highly reliable. As for example, this computer wants to send data to this computer. If this path is failed, still this computer can take this path in order to send data. So if one connection fails, data can take other path. And second one is fast communication. Guys, as computers are directly connected, so data will be transferred very fast. And third one is best for security. Guys, data will be transferred from different paths. Hackers don't know in which path our data will be traveled. Hackers cannot hack our data. These are disadvantages. And the first one is very expensive. Guys, in mesh topology, we need to purchase lot of cables in order to connect to nodes. So it is costly. And second one is difficult to set up and maintain. Guys, connecting multiple computers and managing that computers is very tough. And third one is more hardware requirement. Guys, in our computer, we need to install powerful network hardware in order to handle connections. So we need more hardware. These are disadvantages. Next I will explain what is backbone network. Guys, if we connect different types of networks by using various kinds of devices, then we call it as backbone network. By using backbone network, we can connect several local area networks together. And if you want to connect multiple local area networks together, commonly we will use bus topology or star topology. First one is bus backbone network. Here we will use bus topology. As I already said before, in bus topology, we will use one central cable. We call this cable as bus or backbone that will connect to multiple networks. So there will be multiple local area networks, building 1, building 2, building 3 and building 4. These buildings are connected to bridge as bridges device, and all these devices are connected to one central cable. We call this cable as backbone cable. This is main cable which will establish communication between different networks. So by this cable, all computers can communicate each other. This is bus backbone network. And second one is star backbone network. Guys, we will use star backbone network mainly inside building. For example, there is one building. In that building, each floor contains computer labs. Computers in all these floors want to communicate each other. So all are connected to one device called switch. So this floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, floor 5, floor 6, floor 7, so on. Computers in all these floors are connected to one central device called switch, where switch acts as backbone. We'll use star backbone network mainly inside a building. The backbone network, which is a switch, can be installed in basement on first floor, where we connect all computers to switch. So all computers can communicate each other in different floors. Next I will explain what is network software. Network software is a set of programs and protocols that helps computers communicate over a network. Thus, network software is nothing but set of programs and protocols. Protocols are nothing but rules. By using these protocols, computers can communicate in a network. Network software manages data transmission, ensures security, enables applications like web browsing, emails and file sharing. Guys, for example, if you consider Google Chrome software, Google Chrome software is an example of network software. Google Chrome software contains set of programs and protocols. Protocols are nothing but instructions and rules. By using these protocols and programs, we can communicate over the internet. So Google Chrome software contains programs and protocols. By using this, we can perform activities like web browsing, email sharing and file sharing. And this network software also provides security. So Google Chrome software is an example of network software. Guys, each and every network software contains programs and protocols. Based on these programs and protocols, network software will work. As we are doing web browsing, sending emails and sharing files in Google Chrome because of these programs and protocols. These are examples of network software. And the first one is operating system network components. Guys, for example, if you consider operating systems like Windows, Linux, etc., each and every operating system contains network software. By using this network software, computers can communicate each other. Guys, for example, I want to copy songs from my laptop to my friend laptop. So what I will do is, I will connect to these two laptops by using cable. And then I will copy songs from my laptop to my friend laptop. And this file transfer is successful because of network software. Each and every operating system contains network software. By using the network software, computers can communicate each other. Like they can share files, songs, movies, etc. Guys, network software contains protocols. Protocols are nothing but set of instructions and rules. For example, if you consider operating systems like Windows, Linux, etc., by default, all these operating systems contain TCP/IP protocol. So whenever you install operating systems like Windows, Linux, etc., all these operating systems contain TCP/IP protocol. So there is no need to install it separately. By using TCP/IP protocol, computers can communicate each other, where TCP/IP stands for Transmission Control Protocol and Internet Protocol. By default, all operating systems contain this protocol. By using this protocol, computers can communicate each other. And there is also FTP protocol, where FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. This protocol will not come with operating system. You need to install it separately. By using this protocol, computers can transfer files in a network. So name itself says File Transfer Protocol. This protocol is used to transfer files, where protocols are nothing but set of instructions. And second one is web browsers. Guys, web browsers like Google Chrome, Firefox, all these web browsers contain network software. Guys, in web browsers, we are doing web browsing and sending emails, sharing files. All these are happened because of network software. Web browsers contain network software. By using this network software, data transmission is happened using internet. Thus HTTP, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This is one of the famous protocol used by web browsers for communication. So TCP/IP protocol, FTP protocol, HTTP protocol, all these are communication protocols. Based on these protocols, computers can communicate each other in a network. Thus, without network software, computers cannot communicate each other in network. So some network softwares are pre-installed in operating system like TCP/IP protocol, and whereas other softwares like web browsers, we need to install them. That web browsers will not come with operating system. We need to install web browsers in order to connect to network. Yes, in olden days, computer networks focused mainly on hardware parts like routers, switches, cables, etc. And they don't have much focus on software. But at present, network hardware and as well as network software, both are given equal importance. This is all about network software. Next I will explain what is protocol. A protocol is a set of rules that computers follow to communicate with each other over a network. Computer can't speak like humans. Instead, they use protocols, which are set of rules that defines how data is sent and received. Thus, protocols are nothing but they are set of rules. If two computers want to communicate each other over a network, then they need to follow rules. We call that rules as protocols. For example, one person will speak English and next person will speak Telugu. They cannot communicate each other because they are using different languages. So similarly, if two computers want to communicate each other in a network, then they need to follow same protocols in order to communicate each other. Yes, for example, I want to use Facebook in my computer. So what I will do is, I will open any web browser like Google Chrome. Then I will search for facebook.com. So whenever I search for facebook.com, I will type http://facebook.com, where HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Guys, web browsers like Google Chrome, Firefox, they all are network softwares. These web browsers will use Hypertext Transfer Protocol for communication. So based on HTTP protocol, we can send a request and we will get a response. So whenever I search for facebook.com, I will type http://facebook.com. So HTTP protocol will send my request to Facebook server. And similarly, Facebook company also uses HTTP protocol. Based on this protocol, I will get response. That is, I can see that Facebook page. So two computers must use same protocol in order to communicate each other. For example, if you consider Internet will follow HTTP protocol for communication. As I am sending request by using HTTP, similarly Facebook also give response by using HTTP protocol. Guys, I will explain some important network protocols. And the first one is HTTP, where HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This HTTP protocol is used for websites. For example, I want to open google.com. So what I will do is, I will send a HTTP request like http://google.com. So whenever I send request, Google company server will provide me response. That is, it will give me Google page. And next protocol is TCP/IP protocol, where TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol and IP stands for Internet Protocol. Guys, I already said before, TCP/IP protocol comes with operating system. Whenever you install operating system in your computer, TCP/IP protocol will come by default with that operating system. So this is main protocol that allows computers to communicate over the internet. Guys, in TCP/IP protocol, the duty of TCP protocol is to send data without data loss. This is responsibility of TCP protocol. And whereas IP protocol is responsible to find the best route. In internet, you will get data very fast. This is because of IP protocol. Because IP protocol will find best route in order to send data. That is why we are getting data very fast in internet. Thus, for example, I'm in Hyderabad location and my friend is in Bangalore location. I want to send email to my friend. I will open Gmail and then I will send message. Like I will send, how are you? Whenever I send message, how are you? My message is divided into packets. Like how is one packet, R is one packet and U is one packet. Packets are nothing but piece of data. Piece of data is known as packet. And each packet will find best route in order to reach to destination. How will find best route? R will find best route, U will find best route in order to reach data very fast. So after reaching destination, all these packets will reassemble in order like how are you, and this data is read by receiver. Guys, in TCP/IP protocol, data is divided into packets and each packet will find best route in order to reach destination. TCP protocol ensures data is transferred correctly. So this person will read correct message, and whereas duty of IP protocol is to find best route. Each packet will find best route because of IP protocol, where IP stands for Internet Protocol. That's I already said before. TCP/IP protocol comes by default with your operating system. So if you want to check TCP/IP protocol in your computer, just you need to open command prompt and type ipconfig, where ipconfig stands for Internet Protocol Configuration. So whenever you open ipconfig, it will show complete details regarding TCP/IP protocol. This is all about TCP/IP protocol. And next protocol is FTP protocol, where FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. Guys, if you want to transfer files in internet, then you need to use File Transfer Protocol. Guys, if you want to upload files in server, or if you want to download files in server, then you need to use FTP protocol. So by using FTP protocol, we can upload and as well as we can download files from server. Guys, FTP protocol will not come with operating system. You need to install FTP protocol separately. As for example, if you consider FileZilla software and CyberDuck, these are FTP softwares. By using these softwares, we can upload and we can download files from server. As software developers, after creating websites, they will place that websites in server by using FTP protocol. And next protocol is SMTP protocol, where SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. That's in internet, we are sending emails. This is happened because of SMTP protocol. So it will take care of sending emails from one computer to other computer. Next I will explain what is service. A service is a function or task that one layer provides to the another. In networking and computing, it's like when a lower layer does work for a higher layer, so that higher layer does not need to do itself. Guys, whenever send a transfer message in a network, message will be transferred from various layers and each layer will perform one task. Whatever the work done by lower layer, that work is useful to higher layer. In network, lower layer will do work for higher layer. We call that work as service, so that higher layer need not to do itself. Guys, there are various kinds of layers in network, like network layer, transport layer, application layer, and so on. Guys, whenever sender send data to receiver, the duty of network layer is to find best route. And whereas if you consider transport layer, so duty of transport layer is to find whether data is reached to receiver correctly or not. And whereas if you consider application layer, this application layer contains web browsers. By using that web browsers, we can send data. Guys, duty of network layer is to find best route. So there is no need of transport layer to find best route. So network layer will provide service to transport layer. So transport layer again need not to find best route. So just the duty of transport layer is to send data correctly. This is meaning of service. Guys, in network, whenever person send data, the data is sent to receiver through various layers. Each layer will perform certain task that is useful to above layer. This is meaning of service. Next I will explain what is interface. An interface is the point where two layers interact. Guys, I already said before, work done by below layer that is useful to above layer. We call it as service. And there will be point where two layers will communicate each other. We call that point as interface. If you consider real life example, by using ATM machine, we can do bank transactions. By using ATM screen, person and bank communicate each other. So we call this ATM screen as interface. Yes, next I will explain relationship between protocol, services and interfaces. Yes, protocols are nothing but they are rules. By following that rules, computers can communicate in network. So protocol is like a language for communication. And next one is service. Service is nothing but task done by one layer that is useful to other layer. We call it as service. And interface mean point where two layers interact. We call that point as interface. Example like ATM machine. Yes, for example, if you consider real life example, by using WhatsApp we can send a message. And WhatsApp contains protocols. Protocols are nothing but rules. Like we need to send only text messages, and whenever we send a message, it will deliver status like single tick, double tick and blue tick. All these are rules that are nothing but protocols. Yes, whenever you send a message in WhatsApp, that message is sent correctly. If you send hello, your friend also will receive hello. Whenever you send a message, that message is forwarded to your friend using various layers. Each layer will do certain task. That is why person will receive correct message. And next one is interface. Guys, by using WhatsApp, you and your friend can communicate each other. So this WhatsApp screen acts as interface because WhatsApp screen is a point which will connect to you and your friend. That is interface. Next I will explain what is layered network architecture. We also call it as hierarchy of protocols. In layered network architecture, communication is divided into layers. Each layer will perform specific task. Each layer provides a service to the above layer and hides its implementation details. Layers communicate with each other using protocols, which are set of rules for data exchange. All these layers work together to send data between computers. Guys, I will give one simple example so that you can clearly understand what is hierarchy of protocols. That is what is layered network architecture. Guys, for example, this computer wants to send message to this computer. That this computer is sending message, this computer acts as source, and this computer is receiving message. So this computer acts as destination. Whenever computer sends message, that message is passed from various layers, and each layer will perform certain task. For example, one layer will find the best route to send data, one layer will handle errors, and one layer will provide security. Like that, each layer will perform certain task. And whatever the work done by one layer, that work is useful to other layer. For example, if this layer finds best route, then this layer no need to do that. This layer need not to find best route because it is already done by layer 4. So each layer will provide service that is useful to other layers. And whenever one computer sends message, either by wires or wireless, data is sent to receiver. As for example, this layer is providing service to this layer. So just to whatever work done by layer 1, it is useful to layer 2. But this layer 2 don't know how layer 1 is implemented. So each layer provides a service to the above layer and hides implementation details. Thus, whenever one person sends data using computer, that message is passed from various layers in network. And how many layers source machine contain? Destination computer also contains same layers. So through various layers, data is transferred either using wires or wireless to destination computer. And whatever the layers in source and destination, they both communicate each other using layered protocols. Thus, protocols are nothing but set of rules. So if these two layers want to communicate each other, they need to use protocols. That is nothing but they need to follow rules in order to communicate each other. And we call that rules as protocols. Sender side data starts from top to bottom, and whereas in receiver side, data will be received from bottom to top. Whenever person sends message, it will be sent to layer 4, then layer 3, then layer 2, then layer 1, and through cable, again in receiver side, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 and layer 4. And at last, destination computer will read that message. And each and every layer communicate each other using protocols. Protocols are nothing but set of rules. Based on these rules, data will be transferred in network. Just two layers will communicate each other, and we call that connection point as interface. So point where two layers connect each other, we call that point as interface. Next I will explain communication between layers, or we also call it as relation between layers. Guys, I already said before, in layered network architecture, each layer will perform certain tasks, and whatever the task done by one layer, that work is useful to above layer. So whenever person sends message, that message is passed through various layers. As each layer will perform certain tasks, that is why receiver will get correct message. Layered network architecture contains SDU, that is Service Data Unit. Thus SDU is nothing but, for example, I want to send hello to my friend. That hello message is known as SDU. The actual data, that is raw data or message, that is being sent from one layer to other layer, we call the data as Service Data Unit. That is nothing but actual message that is being transmitted. Layered architecture also contains Protocol Control Information. Shortly we call it as PCI. As whenever data is transferred from various layers, along with data, we will add PCA. As we don't send our data directly, along with our message, we will add some extra data. We call that extra data as PCA. By using that extra data, we can identify and as well as we can correct errors. So PCA is nothing but extra code that is added to our actual data. By using that extra code, we can identify errors and as well as we can solve errors in network. Our next component is PDU, that is Protocol Data Unit. That's HDU, that is actual data plus extra data. If we combine these both data, then we call it as Protocol Data Unit. Shortly we call it as PDU. Next I will explain design issues of layered architecture. Guys, if you want to design layered architecture, then there are some problems. And the first one is number of layers. Guys, deciding how many layers we need to create is very tough. As I already said before, each layer will perform certain tasks. If we create only few layers, we need to assign more work for each layer. And if there are so many layers, then it is very hard to design. So in layered architecture, we should not create more layers and we should not create less layers. We need to create only specific number of layers and then we need to give equal work for all layers. And second one is clear layer responsibilities. That's whatever the layers present in network, we need to give equal work for all layers. If we give more work for one layer and if we give less work for one layer, then communication will not happen properly. We need to give equal number of work for all layers. And third one is communication between layers. Yes, all layers in network must communicate efficiently. If layers cannot communicate properly, person will receive wrong message. That is why all layers must communicate each other properly in network. And fourth one is encapsulation and modularity. One layer will provide service to above layer. Above layer need not to know how below layer is created. Encapsulation means above layer need not to know how below layer will work. Just above layer will take service from below layer, that's it. And modularity means whatever the changes made in one layer, it must not affect other layers. This is meaning of modularity. And fifth one is flexibility and upgradability. Guys, networking is improving day by day. We need to design network system that can adapt to changes based on new technology. And sixth one is protocol independency. As two layers will communicate each other using protocol, changes made to protocol must not affect layers. And seventh one is efficiency versus complexity. Thus, each layer must be very simple. And even though it must be simple, it must provide all necessary services. And eighth one is security. Each layer must provide security like authentication, encryption, etc. And ninth one is error handling and reliability. Thus, whenever we send any data in network by using this layered model, the data is passed from various layers. If there is any connection break in between these layers, then person will receive wrong message. So we need to design system that must handle errors. And 10th one is layer interaction and interfaces. Guys, point where two layers communicate each other, we call that point as interface. So interface must be clear. Interface is nothing but point which will connect to two layers. We call that point as interface. So if interface is clear, layers can communicate each other easily. Next I will explain what are the reasons for using layered protocols in networking. And the first one is design simplification. Guys, we need layers in networking because guys, if there is any big task, then we can divide that big task into smaller tasks and we can give the task to each layer. So work can be handled easily. Guys, if we don't use layers in network, if we want to do any small change, then we need to change entire network. But if we use layers in networking, changes made to one layer will not affect other layers. So using layered protocols, changes made to one layer will not affect other layers. And third one is easy learning. As if we divide big task into smaller tasks and if we assign each task to one layer, we can clearly know what are the duties of each layer. And also we get to know how these layers communicate each other and complete work. This is meaning of easy learning. And fourth one is standardization. Protocols are nothing but rules. By following rules, computers can communicate each other in network. So layered protocols contain clear rules and that rules are followed by each and every computer connected to network. Next I will explain different services provided by layers in layered model. Okay, there are two types of services provided by layered model. They are connection oriented service and connectionless service. Guys, in connection-oriented service, if two computers want to communicate each other, then at first we need to establish connection. Only after establishing connection, they can communicate. And whenever person sends message, other person will give response to that message. Whether message is received correctly or not. So if we want to transfer files and if we want to do video calls, then we need to use connection-oriented service. Guys, there are two types of connection-oriented services. And the first one is message sequence. As for example, if we want to send complete book in network, then what message sequence will do is, message sequence will send each page at a time. This is example of message sequence. And second one is byte stream. Guys, in byte stream, complete data is sent in sequence without breaking data. Byte stream will not break message. It will send complete message in sequence. For example, if you consider message sequence, for example, I want to send how are you. So how is one part. At first it will send how, then are, then it will send you. Like that in message sequence, data is sent as parts. And whereas if you consider byte stream, in byte stream, without breaking message, data is sent as continuous sequence. Like it will send how are you in sequence. Next services provided by layers in layered model is connectionless service. Guys, if you consider connection oriented service, only after establishing connection, data will be transferred. And whereas in connectionless service, so without establishing any connection, data is transferred first. And this connectionless service is fast because without establishing connection, so data is transferred first. So this connectionless service is fast, but as connection is not established first, while transferring data, person may get wrong data or data may be lost. Guys, emails are examples of connectionless services. Only while sending email message, two computers will connect each other. So connection will not be established at first. Connectionless services are classified into two types. They are datagram service and request to replay service. Guys, in datagram service, whenever person sends data, receiver will not give replay that whether data is received correct or not. So sender don't know whether data is sent correctly or not. And whereas in request to replay service, name itself says request to replay. So whenever person sends message, receiver will give response like whether data is received correctly or not. So if person receive wrong message, so sender will again send data. So here there is no guarantee. And whereas in this there is guarantee. That is, message will be transferred correctly to receiver. These are different types of services provided by layers in layered model. Next I will explain hardware components of computer network. Guys, computer network needs different kinds of hardware parts to work properly. These are some of the important hardware components. And the first one is computer. Guys, computer is the main device in a network. By using computer, we can send and we can receive information in the network. For example, we can send information like messages, songs, movies, etc. in a network by using computer. Guys, in computer network, some computers act as clients and some computers act as internet service providers and some computers act as servers. I'll give one example. Guys, for example, I want to purchase mobile below 10,000 rupees. So what I will do is, I will open Google and I will log in into Amazon website and then I will search for mobiles below 10,000 rupees. So whenever I search for mobiles below 10,000 rupees, this request is passed to Amazon company server. Guys, Amazon company contains various servers. In the servers, complete product details are stored. So whenever I send request like mobile below 10,000 rupees, this Amazon company will display me complete mobiles below 10,000 rupees. So as I am sending request, I act as client. Client is the computer which always want information. As I want information like mobile below 10,000 rupees, I act as client. And server is the computer that will provide us information. Thus, if you want to communicate in a network, we need internet connection. And this internet connection is provided by internet service providers. For example, if you consider JioNet, Active FiberNet and AirtelNet, all these are internet service providers because they will provide us internet connections. So internet service providers are the computers which will provide us internet connections. So in computer network, some computers act as clients, some computers act as internet service providers, and some computers act as servers. And second one is network interface card. Shortly we call it as NIC. Guys, NIC is the device that is present inside your computer. And by using this device, we can connect to network. And we also call this device as network adapter. Guys, in computer, NIC card is attached to motherboard and we will connect the network cables to this NIC card. And this NIC card is used to control flow of data in the network. That is nothing but data is passed in the network by using this NIC card. And third one is hub. Guys, hub is the device that will connect multiple computers in local area net. And this hub is very cheap and easy to use. Guys, for example, this computer want to send data to this computer. Even though single computer want data, hub will send data to all remaining computers connected to it. So hub will send data to all computers connected to it. Guys, hub can send data and as well as it can receive data, but it cannot do both operations at a time. So hub is very slow when compared to switch. And fourth hardware component is switch. Guys, we call switch as smart hub because if you consider hub will send data to all computers connected to it. Even though if single computer want data, hub will send data to all remaining computers. But whereas if you consider switch, instead of sending data to all remaining computers, switch will send data to only that particular computer which want data. For example, this computer want to send data to this computer, so switch will send data to only particular computer which want data. It will not send data to all remaining computers. It will send data to only particular computer which want data. And whereas if you consider hub cannot send and receive data at a time. But whereas if you consider switch can send data and receive data at a time. So switch is fast when compared to hub. Guys, for example, if you consider engineering college computer labs, in computer labs, all computers are connected to a device called switch. On top you can see one small box where all computers are connected to that box. We call that box as switch. And fifth hardware component is router. Guys, router will connect different networks together. Guys, for example, if you consider Wi-Fi in your house, just by using router, we can connect to Wi-Fi and we can access internet. And by using internet, we can chat to people who is in other countries. So router will connect different networks together. And this router will choose best path for data to travel. Guys, we can connect devices to router either by using wires or wireless. And we will use routers in complex networks like internet. We will use routers in internet. Next I will explain difference between switch and hub. The switch is fast because it will send data to only particular computer which want data. And whereas if you consider hub is slow because it will send data to all computers connected to it. Guys, in switch, there is no bandwidth wastage. Bandwidth is nothing but maximum amount of data that can be traveled in a network. We call it as bandwidth. So in switch, there is no bandwidth wastage. That is nothing but no data wastage. And whereas if you consider hub will waste bandwidth because it will send data to all computers connected to it. So there is bandwidth wastage. Guys, if you consider switch is full duplex. Full duplex means switch can send and receive data at the same time. This is meaning of full duplex. And whereas if you consider hub is half duplex. That means it cannot send and receive data at the same time. Switch is expensive when compared to hub and hub is less cost when compared to switch. Next I will explain difference between router and switch. Guys, router will connect to different networks and whereas switch will connect to same networks. I will explain what is meaning of different networks and same networks with an example. Guys, for example, there is one college. In college, there are 3 floors. Each floor contains one computer lab and computers in all these floors are connected by using switch. So by using switch, all these computers can communicate directly. So in same network, there will be direct communication. With the switch, all computers can communicate directly. This is meaning of same network. Guys, for example, there is an office. In this office, one branch is located in one area and other branch is located in other area. And these both branch offices cannot communicate directly because they are very far. So this is one network and this is other network. If these both networks want to communicate each other, we need router. So by using router, different networks can communicate each other. Guys, whereas in same network, all computers can communicate directly by using switch. And whereas if you consider router will connect to different networks. This is one network and this is other network. Both are connected by using router. So router will connect to different networks and switch will connect to same networks. As router will connect to different networks, it is more advanced and switch is less advanced. Guys, router will identify devices based on IP address and switch will identify devices based on MAC address. I will explain what is IP address and MAC address. Guys, for example, if you consider any person, we can identify that person by using Aadhaar number. So we can identify any person by using Aadhaar card. And for example, I purchased a laptop, that is Dell laptop, for example. and we can identify this device by using MAC address. So MAC address is nothing but it is one of the number given by manufacturer of the company. For example, whenever I purchase Dell laptop, this Dell company will give me one number. We call that number as MAC number. Based on that MAC address, we can identify device. Let's for example, I took internet connection from JioFiber. Thus, whenever I took internet connection, that company will provide me one address. We call that address as IP address, where IP stands for Internet Protocol Address, and that IP address is given to our router. Guys, IP address is nothing but it is the number. Based on that IP address, we can access internet. Guys, MAC address is provided by company manufacturer, and whereas IP address is provided by internet service provider like Jio, Act, FiberNet, etc. They will provide us IP address. Based on that IP address, we can access internet. Guys, MAC stands for Media Access Control. Guys, switch will work based on MAC address. For example, this computer wants to send data to this computer, and this computer will identify this computer based on MAC address. I already said before, it is like Aadhaar card number. Person contains Aadhaar card number to identify him, and whereas devices contain MAC address to identify devices. And this MAC address is given by company manufacturer, and each and every device contain unique MAC address. So this computer will send message to this computer based on MAC address. And whereas if you consider router will work based on IP address. As for example, this computer want to send message to this computer. As I already said before, IP address is provided by internet service provider. Each router contains different IP address, and this computer will send data to this computer based on IP address. So router will work based on IP address, and switch will work based on MAC address. Thus, if you want to use router, at first you need to set up router. So for router, you need setup. And whereas if you consider switch, directly we can plug in our computer to switch and we can use. There is no need of any setup. So for most of the switches, we can directly plug in our cable and we can use. These are differences between router and switch. Guys, next hardware component is bridge. By using bridge, we can connect to similar networks. Let's for example, there is one big office. This office contains 3 buildings side by side. So this is one building, this is one building, and this is one building. And all these devices are connected by using bridge. So bridge will divide big network into smaller parts, so devices can communicate faster. Thus we are connecting 3 buildings which are side by side by using bridge. This is example. And 7th hardware component is gateway. Guys, by using bridge, we can connect to similar networks. And whereas if you consider gateway, by using gateway we can connect to different networks. I'll give an example. Guys, for example, software company contains 3 branches. One branch in Hyderabad, next branch in Delhi, and next branch in Bangalore. And this is one local area network, and this is one local area network, and this is one local area network. And all these are different networks because they are in different locations. And by using gateway, we can connect to different networks. So each network will follow different protocols for communication. Protocols are nothing but instructions. So different networks with the different protocols can communicate each other using gateway. Guys, another hardware component is repeater. So repeater is a device. By using the device, we can strengthen weak signals. So repeater will help weak signals to travel long distance. And 9th hardware component is media connectors. Guys, we need connectors in order to establish communication between network devices. I'll give an example. I want to connect a computer with router. So there is cable. And in order to connect a computer with router, we need connectors. Yes, for example, if you consider RJ45, it is one of the biggest pin. That pin will look like telephone pin. You can attach RJ45 pins to your cable and then you can connect to your CPU with router. So we need connectors in order to establish communication between network devices. Guys, there are various kinds of connectors like RJ45, BNC stands for British Novel Connector, and T connector and terminal connectors. Guys, we are not using BNC at present. They are used in older networks. And if you consider T connector, it is used in coaxial cables. And if you consider terminal connectors, they are used in fiber optic cables. Guys, all these are various kinds of hardware components, or we also call it as hardware device used in computer networks. Next, I will explain various types of network connections. Guys, we also call network connections as transmission technologies. There are 2 types of network connections. There are point-to-point connection. We also call it as unicasting. And second one is multi-point connection. We also call it as broadcasting. At first, I will explain what is point-to-point connection, that is unicasting. Guys, in unicasting, two devices will communicate each other. Either communication can be wired or wireless. Wired mean they can use wires or cables for communication, and wireless mean they can use microwaves or satellite connection for communication. Guys, in point-to-point connection, only two devices will communicate each other. For example, TV remote and TV. Remote will send signals to only single TV. As only two devices are involved, this is unicasting. And next I will explain what is multi-point connection. We also call it as broadcasting. Because in broadcasting, many devices will communicate each other. All these devices can share information. For example, this computer wants to send how are you to this computer. Guys, in network, data is divided into packets. This how is considered as one packet, R is considered as one packet, and U is considered as one packet. So in network, data is divided into packets. They are nothing but parts. Guys, whenever this computer sends how are you to this computer, guys, this information is passed to each and every computer connected to this network. Guys, each packet contains MAC address of receiver. So along with this message, this computer will include this receiver MAC address. Even though message is forwarded to each and every computer in the network, only receiver with correct MAC address, only correct receiver can read that message. So in multi-point connection, a device sends a packet that is nothing but small parts of message, and all devices receive it, but only the device that requires will take it. The packet has a address field. That message will contain MAC address of the receiver, which tells which device must read that message. Guess multi-point connections are classified into two types. They are broadcasting and multicasting. I already explained what is broadcasting. That is, each packet is sent to each and every device in the network. So all devices will get that message. Even though message is sent to all devices, only receiver will take that message. This is broadcasting. And next one is multicasting. Guys, in multicasting, message will not be forwarded to each and every computer. Message will be sent to only particular computers. As for example, this computer wants to send message to this computer and to this computer. So message will be forwarded to only these two computers. These remaining two computers will not receive that message. This is multicasting. Guys, these are various transmission technologies. Next I will explain what is magnetic media. Magnetic media are storage devices. These devices are used in computers, banks and industries to save large amount of data. Guys, these are examples of magnetic media. And the first one is hard disk drive. Shortly we call it as HDD. Guys, we will use hard disk in computers to store files. And second one is floppy disk. Guys, in older computers, we use floppy disk for storing small files. And third one is magnetic tapes. Guys, olden days in banks and software companies, we used magnetic tape for storing data. Guys, there are two types of magnetic media. One is magnetic disk and second one is magnetic tape. Guys, in magnetic disk, we will store data and it is made up of round metal plate or plastic and it is covered with magnetic layer. And in magnetic disk, data is stored as tiny magnetic spots. Magnetic disk example is hard disk that we use in our computer. Guys, in magnetic disk, when you store your data, the data is stored in the form of zeros and ones. And to open your file, this computer will read zeros and ones. These are advantages of magnetic disk. And the first one is fast. Guys, it is very easy to see, copy data in magnetic disk. And second one is stores large amount of data. In magnetic disk, we can store huge amount of data. That is in TBs. And third one is direct access. Guys, directly we can copy files in hard disk. And directly we can open that files without searching. These are advantages of magnetic disk. And second magnetic media is magnetic tape. Yes, magnetic tape is nothing but it is long plastic ribbon coated with magnetic layer. Mainly these tapes are used in banks and companies for storing data. Yes, for example, if you consider old cassettes, there is plastic ribbon coated with magnetic layer where we will store data in the tapes. This data is stored in long sequence like video tape. If you want to find any file in magnetic tape, then you need to move tape forward or backward in order to search that file. These are advantages of magnetic tape. And the first one is cheap. Guys, when compared to hard disk, magnetic tapes are cheaper. And second one is reusable. Guys, we can erase data and we can add new data in magnetic tapes. And third one is good for backup. Guys, you can store multiple copies of your data as backup in magnetic tapes. And these are disadvantages. And the first one is slow. Guys, if you want to find data, you need to forward or rewind tape in order to find data. So it is slow. And second disadvantage is it cannot open files quickly when compared to hard disk. These are disadvantages of magnetic tape. Next I will explain what are power lines. Guys, power lines are nothing but they are thick cables that will carry electricity from power stations to houses, offices and industries. Guys, these are examples of power lines. And the first one is electrical wires. Guys, we will use electric wires in houses for lights, fans and TVs. High voltage cables. Guys, we will use high voltage cables on roads for carrying electricity from power plants. And third one is telephone cables. These cables are used to carry telephone signals. Next I will explain what is OSI reference model and then I will explain 7 layers of OSI model. Guys, for example, I am in India and my friend is in UK. In my computer, I will open WhatsApp web and then I will send message hello to my friend who is in UK. So whenever I send hello message to my friend, that message is not sent directly to my friend. Instead, my message is passed from various layers and then my message is reached to person who is in UK. So OSI model contains various layers and each layer will perform various tasks. That is nothing but each layer will perform various operations. Guys, OSI model is just a reference model. It is not implemented anywhere. Just it is a reference model, that's it. By seeing this reference model, we can clearly know how data will be transferred from one computer to another computer in a network. And this OSI model was developed by International Organization for Standardization. Shortly we call it as ISO. So OSI model was developed by ISO in the year 1984. That's OSI, where OSI stands for Open Systems Interconnection. OSI model is a reference model that explains how data is transferred from one computer to another computer over a network. It was developed by International Organization for Standardization. Shortly we call it as ISO in the year 1984. The OSI model has 7 layers. Each layer will perform specific function. Next I will explain characteristics of OSI model. Guys, OSI model is divided into two parts. They are upper layers and lower layers. Upper layer contains application layer, presentation layer and session layer, and whereas lower layer contains transport layer, network layer, data link layer and physical layer. Guys, each layer will perform certain tasks and each layer will communicate with above layer and as well as below layer. For example, if you consider presentation layer will communicate with application layer and as well as session layer. So each layer will communicate with above layer and as well as below layer. OSI model allows hardware and software systems communicate smoothly. Because for example, I will send message by using WhatsApp web. So WhatsApp web is considered as software. Whenever I send message using WhatsApp web, that message is transferred from various hardware devices like cables, routers, switches, etc. So by using OSI model, hardware and software both can communicate each other smoothly. Guys, OSI model is layered approach. Layered approach is nothing but our network is divided into various layers. So if we divide our network into various layers, then network management will be easy and troubleshooting will be easy. Guys, troubleshooting is nothing but if we get any problem to our network, we can easily solve that problem. This is meaning of troubleshooting. These are 7 layers in OSI model. On that, application layer, presentation layer, session layer and transport layer. These 4 layers are handled by computer. So computer is nothing but host. So these 4 layers are handled by host. And whereas if you consider network layer, data link layer and physical layer, these 3 layers are handled in network. So these 3 layers are responsibility of the network. I will give one simple trick in order to remember all these 7 layers. Guys, AP, ST and DP. If you remember this formula, you can easily remember all these 7 layers. Where A stands for application layer, P stands for presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer and physical layer. Guys, first layer is not application layer. First layer is physical layer. We need to start from downward direction. So first layer is physical layer, second layer is data link layer, third layer is network layer and so on. So formula is AP, ST and DP. These are 7 layers in OSI model. I will explain each and every layer in detail. In exam, they may ask each layer separately, like explain physical layer in OSI model, explain network layer in OSI model and so on. So you need to be perfect on each and every layer. At first I will explain what is physical layer. Thus physical layer is the first layer and lowest layer in the OSI model. The name itself says physical layer. If you want to establish connection between devices physically, Then we need physical layer. I'll give an example. Guys, for example, I want to send message hello to my friend who is in UK. So if you want to send message, then at first you need to connect these devices. So by using physical layer, we can connect devices, and connection can be either wired or wireless. If we connect a device using wires, then data is transferred in the form of electrical signals, and if we connect a device using wireless, then data is transferred in the form of radio waves or light waves. So what physical layer will do is, physical layer will connect the devices, and connection can be either wired or wireless. So first task done by physical layer is to connect the devices. Guys, physical layer will also handle hardware components like cables, routers, switches, etc. After establishing connection, physical layer will convert our data into bits, that is zeros and ones. For example, I will send message hello. Physical layer will convert my message into zeros and ones. So this hello is converted into zeros and ones like 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, so on. So duty of physical layer is to convert our data into bits, that is in the form of zeros and ones. So physical layer will establish connection between devices either by using wires or wireless. And physical layer will also convert our data into bits, that is in the form of zeros and ones. And physical layer will also control data speed, that is how much speed data must be transferred in network. Guys, physical layer will support different connections. They are point-to-point connection and multi-point connection. Point-to-point connection is nothing but if we connect to two devices directly by using cable, then we call it as point-to-point connection. And whereas multi-point connection means all devices are connected by using router. This is example of multi-point connection. So physical layer will support different types of connections. And physical layer will also decide topology, how we arrange our computers physically. We call that arrangement as topology. Some companies will follow star topology, some companies will follow ring topology, and some companies will follow bus topology. Physical layer will decide topology, that is nothing but how to arrange computers. Physical layer will define transmission modes. There are three types of transmission modes. They are simplex, half duplex, and full duplex. Simplex is nothing but one-way communication. For example, two computers are connected each other. Only one computer can send message. Next computer cannot send message. This is meaning of one-way communication. That is simplex. And whereas in half duplex, two computers can communicate each other. Like they can send messages. But in half duplex, two computers cannot send message at a time. And whereas in full duplex, two computers can send message at a time. Thus, all these are various kinds of functions or operations performed by physical layer. Guys, in exam, you need to explain each and every function clearly. This is all about first layer, that is physical layer. Next, I will explain what is data link layer. Main duty of data link layer is to transfer data without any errors. For example, I will send a message hello to my friend, but due to some noise or cable problem, my data is reached to receiver like JELLO. In place of HELLO, my friend will receive data like JELLO. So, such errors are handled by data link layer. That is, data link layer will identify errors and as well as data link layer will correct that errors. Like, it will change J to H. So, main duty of data link layer is to transfer data without any errors. Guys, before explaining various operations of data link layer, you need to know what is IP address and what is MAC address. For example, we can identify any person by using Aadhaar number. As each and every person contains unique Aadhaar number, we can identify any person by using Aadhaar number. In same way, we can identify any device by using IP address and MAC address. At first, I will explain what is IP address. For example, I took Jio Internet connection. So whenever I took Jio Internet service provider like Jio, Airtel, Active ARPANET, etc. will assign me one number, and this number is assigned to our router. We call that number as IP number. That is IP address. IP address is unique number given to our router by Jio company. By using this IP address, we can access internet. So all devices can access internet by connecting to this router by using IP address, where IP stands for Internet Protocol. By using IP address, we can identify devices in internet. This is all about IP address. Next, I will explain what is MAC address. For example, I purchase a Dell laptop. So Dell company manufacturer will give me one number. We call that number as MAC number. That is MAC address. Each and every device contains unique MAC address. By using that MAC address, we can identify devices. Whereas IP address is given by internet service provider, and whereas MAC address is given by company manufacturer. For example, I purchased iPhone. So for this iPhone, Apple company manufacturer will give me one unique number to identify this device. We call that unique number as MAC number. Guys, data link layer will not send our data directly. Instead, data link layer will add our data into frame. Guys, frame is like parcel. Instead of sending our data directly, data link layer will parcel our data. That is, data link layer will add our data into frame and then it will send data. Guys, whenever data link layer add our data into frame, along with our data, it will add sender MAC address and as well as receiver MAC address. Guys, I already said before what is MAC address. MAC address is like Aadhaar number. If you want to identify any person, we can identify by using Aadhaar number. In same way, if you want to identify any device, we can identify device by using MAC number, where MAC stands for Media Access Control Address. So along with our data link layer will add sender MAC address and as well as receiver MAC address. By using these addresses, data will be received to correct person by identifying MAC address. So main duty of data link layer is to transfer data without any errors, and data link layer will add our data into frames, and along with our message, data link layer will add sender MAC address and as well as receiver MAC address. And by combining all this, data link layer will send our data. Our data will be traveled in network based on IP address. I already said before, our router is assigned with one IP address. So whenever I send hello message, at first my data is transferred to router based on IP address, and there are various kinds of devices connected to this router like laptop, computer, mobiles, etc. Whenever our data is reached to router and if there is MAC address match, then data is transferred to this computer. This is how data will be transferred in network. These are 5 main functions of data link layer. And the first one is framing. Instead of sending our data directly, data link layer will place our data in frame. Frame is like parcel. Data link layer will place our data in frame and then it will send our data. And second function is adding MAC address. Along with our data link layer will add sender MAC address and as well as receiver MAC address in order to identify devices, so that data will be transferred to correct computer. And third one is flow control. As for example, in your college, there is one below average student and principal said to prepare him 10 subjects in one day. As average student, that person cannot prepare 10 subjects at a time. It is burden for him. In same way, flow control means how much speed receiver will receive data. In that speed, sender must send data. Guys, for example, receiver is very slow. If sender will send data very fast, then it will be burden for this computer. This computer cannot handle that much data at a time. That is why there must be flow control. Flow control means how much speed receiver can receive data. In that speed, sender must send data. If receiver is receiving data very slow, then sender must also send data very slow. And data link layer also manages error control. Thus, data link layer will detect errors and as well as it will correct errors. And next one is access control. Data link layer will send data based on MAC address. It will not send data to each and every computer. It will send data to only correct computer. So access control means which device can communicate in network. This is meaning of access control. All these are various functions of data link layer. Data link layer contains 2 sublayers. They are logical link control layer and media access control layer, that is MAC layer. This logical link control layer will manage data flow. That is why data will be transferred smoothly. And next one is MAC layer. Along with our data, MAC layer will assign MAC address of sender and receiver to our data. By using MAC address, we can identify device in network. These are 2 sublayers of data link layer. So in network, at first our data is transferred to physical layer, where physical layer will establish connection between devices and it will convert our data into binary format, that is in the form of zeros and ones. From physical layer, our data is transferred to data link layer, where data link layer will handle errors, and along with this data link layer will add MAC address of sender and receiver in order to identify devices. This is all about data link layer. Next I will explain what is network layer. Network layer is based on IP address. I already explained what is IP address. IP address stands for Internet Protocol Address. Internet service providers like Jio, Active ARPANET, Airtel, they will give that address and IP address will be assigned to each router. So all devices connected to that router can access internet. So network layer will identify sender and receiver based on IP address. After identifying devices, now network layer will send data. In network layer, instead of sending complete data at a time, our data is divided into packets. Packets are nothing but pieces. For example, I want to send how are you to my friend who is in UK. So whenever I send message how are you, the data is divided into packets like how is one packet, R is one packet, and U is one packet. So piece of data is known as packet. So duty of network layer is to divide our data into packets, and each packet will find the best route in order to reach to destination. So this packet will find the best route. Similarly, this packet will find the best route. This packet will find the best route. So each packet will find the best route in order to reach to destination very fast. So after reaching destination, complete data will be arranged in order, like data will be arranged like how are you, and then this data is read by receiver. So network layer will identify device based on IP address, and then it will divide our data into packets, and each packet will find best route in order to reach to destination. That's in internet. Data is transferred very fast because data is divided into packets, and each packet will find a best route. Because of that best route, data will be reached to receiver very fast. As for example, I'm in India, so my computer in India is considered as one network, and my friend computer in UK is other network. Both networks can communicate each other based on IP address. So network layer will establish connection between multiple networks. These are functions of network layer, and the first one is internetworking. Internetworking means connecting multiple networks, and second one is addressing. Network layer will identify device based on IP address. At first, data is sent to router based on IP address. From router, data is reached to computer based on MAC address, as each computer will have unique MAC address. And third function of network layer is routing. Each packet will find a best route in order to reach to destination. And fourth one is packetizing. Complete data is not sent at a time. Instead, data is divided into packets. Each piece of data is known as packet. So all packets will find the best route, and then those packets will reach to destination. This is all about network layer. So from data link layer, data is transferred to network layer. So where network layer will allow different networks to communicate based on IP address. Network layer will divide our data into packets, and then it will send our data. This is duty of network layer. So from network layer, our data is transferred to transport layer. So next I will explain what is transport layer. Thus transport layer will send our data without any errors. Transport layer will ensure that whether receiver received correct data or not. Whenever transport layer send our data, it will break our data into segments like various small pieces, and then after reaching to destination, this transport layer will rearrange segments in order. After rearranging segments in order, data will be sent to destination. Destination will read that message. Guys, there are two main protocols in transport layer. They are TCP protocol and UDP protocol. Where TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol. Guys, Transmission Control Protocol will send our data from source to destination by checking errors. So Transmission Control Protocol is good because while transmitting data, it will check errors. And next one is UDP protocol, where UDP stands for User Datagram Protocol. Guys, TCP protocol is slow because it will check errors. And whereas UDP protocol is fast because it will send data from sender to receiver very fast because it will not check any errors. So main duty of transport layer is to break our data into segments, and transport layer will reassemble segments after reaching to destination. These are three main functions of transport layer, and the first one is segmentation and reassembling, and second one is flow control. Thus flow control is nothing but preventing fast sender from slow receiver. If receiver is receiving very slow, then sender must send data very slow. So keeping sender and receiver in sync is known as flow control. And next one is error control. That's same like data link layer. While transmitting data, if any segment is lost, again transport layer will send that lost segment. So receiver will receive correct data. So from transport layer, data is transferred to session layer. So next I will explain what is session layer. Session layer will manage session establishment, maintenance, termination between applications, handles login and authentication, uses synchronization points to resume data transfer after a failure. This session is nothing but starting from sending our data to till termination. That is, after person receive message, we need to close connection. We call this entire thing as session. Session layer will handle login and authentication. If two computers want to communicate each other, then at first they need to establish connection. For example, these two computers want to communicate each other. This person will enter password like 123. Similarly, this person also must enter same password. So sender password and receiver password. If both matches, then authentication is successful. Computers can communicate each other. This is meaning of authentication. And this authentication is done by session layer. As for example, this computer is sending data to this computer. While sending data, data is reached till here, and here there is connection failure. And session layer can resume data when there is data failure. Guys, there are two functions of session layer. They are dialogue control and synchronization. Dialogue control means it will manage communication between devices like simplex, half duplex and full duplex. Simplex means if two computers connected to each other, only one computer can send data. Other computer cannot send data. This is meaning of simplex. And half duplex means two computers can send data, but two computers cannot send data at a time. And full duplex means two computers can send data at a time. And second one is synchronization. Guys, our data is transferred to other person through various routers. While transferring data, if there is any data failure, so instead of again starting from first, from that router where data failure occur, from that router, again we need to resume data. This is meaning of synchronization. And next one is presentation layer. Name itself says presentation layer. That is nothing but presenting our data in readable format. Normally, physical layer will convert our data into zeros and ones. But again after reaching to destination, this person must read hello message. So presentation layer will convert our data into readable format. That is, it will convert zeros and ones into text. Presentation layer converts our data into readable format, and then presentation layer also provides security. These are functions of presentation layer. And the first one is translation. Converting our data into readable format, which will be understandable by receiver, is known as translation. And second one is encryption and decryption. Guys, encryption and decryption, both are techniques for providing security. So presentation layer will provide security. And third one is compression. As for example, you are transferring file, that file size is very large. So presentation layer will compress that size. So presentation layer will reduce file size for faster transmission. And last one is application layer. This is seventh layer in OSI model, that is last layer. Thus user will transfer data by using various kinds of applications. For example, if you consider Google Chrome, Firefox, by using Google Chrome and Firefox, we can transfer data using Internet. As we are directly interacting with web browsers like Google Chrome and Firefox, this application layer is close to end users like us. So application layer will handle various kinds of applications like Google Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, etc. By using these applications, we can send emails, we can do web browsing, and we can also transfer files. And this application layer contains various kinds of protocols like HTTP protocol, FTP protocol, SMTP protocol, and DNS protocol. Protocols are nothing but rules. By using that protocols, computers can communicate each other in Internet. Okay, these are three functions of application layer. And the first one is file transfer. By using applications like Google Chrome, we can upload and as well as we can download files. And second one is email services. By using SMTP protocol, we can transfer messages by using email. And next one is remote access. As for example, I'm in India. I want to access my friend computer, which is in UK. I can directly access that computer by using Internet. This is meaning of remote access. So application layer will support file transfer, email services, and as well as remote access. This is complete summary of various layers. This is structure of OSI model. Node A is nothing but sender and node B is receiver. Nodes are nothing but computers. So from sender side, data will start from top to bottom, and from receiver side, data will reach from bottom to top. So data will flow in this direction. The sender side application layer and receiver side application layer, both will communicate each other by using protocol. Protocol is nothing but set of rules. By following these rules, two layers can communicate each other. Like that, each and every layer will communicate each other by using various kinds of protocols. So these four layers will communicate directly by using protocols, and whereas network layer, data link layer, and physical layer, they will communicate each other by using internal protocols. Physical layer will convert our data into bits. Data layer will place our data in frame and then it will transfer our data. And whereas network layer will transfer our data by dividing our data into packets. Where APDU stands for Application Protocol Data Unit and PPDU stands for Presentation Protocol Data Unit. SPDU stands for Session Protocol Data Unit and TPDU stands for Transport Protocol Data Unit. This is complete structure of OSI model. This is how your data will be transferred from sender to receiver through various layers. This is all about OSI model. Next I will explain TCP/IP model, where TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol and whereas IP stands for Internet Protocol. TCP/IP model was developed by Winton Cerf and Robert Kahn in 1970s. US Department of Defense, they funded for development of TCP/IP model. Guys, if you consider OSI model, OSI model was developed in the year 1984 and TCP/IP model was developed in the year 1970s. So TCP/IP model was developed before OSI model. If you consider OSI model is a reference model. By seeing this reference model, we can clearly understand how devices will communicate in network. So it is theory concept. This model is not implemented anywhere. And whereas if you consider TCP/IP model is not a reference model because Internet was implemented by using TCP/IP model, as all devices are communicating in Internet because of TCP/IP model. The TCP/IP model is a way to understand how devices communicate over a network like the Internet. Guys, by seeing TCP/IP model, you can clearly understand how devices will communicate in Internet. Guys, by seeing both OSI model and as well as TCP/IP model, we can clearly understand how devices will communicate over a network. Though both are used for similar purposes, but they are different. Whereas if you consider OSI model contains 7 layers. And whereas if you consider TCP/IP model contains only 4 layers. They are application layer, transport layer, internet layer and network access layer. Guys, you can remember like this. NITA, that is application layer, transport layer, internet layer and network access layer. Where starting layer is application layer and last layer is network access layer. At first I will explain what is application layer. Application layer deals with applications that are used to access internet. For example, if you consider Google Chrome, Firefox, by using that applications, we can access internet. Like we can do web browsing, we can send emails, we can send files, etc. So application layer will help applications to communicate over the network. This application layer contains 4 important protocols. I will explain each of them. Guys, for example, I will open any web browser like Google Chrome or Firefox and then I will type http://www.google.com, where HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Guys, protocols are nothing but rules. If devices want to communicate each other over the internet, then they need to follow rules. We call those rules as protocols. Where HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, by following this protocol, we can do web browsing. That is why whenever you enter any website, you will type HTTP at first. Next, I will explain what is DNS. Guys, DNS stands for Domain Name System. For example, I will open any website like google.com. So whenever I enter google.com and click enter in our web browser, there will be DNS. What this DNS will do is, DNS will convert our website name into IP address. And based on this IP address, we will get that website. So main duty of DNS is to convert our website name into IP address. So next I will explain what is SMTP, where SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Name itself says Mail Transfer Protocol. So by using SMTP, we can send emails. And next one is FTP, where FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. By using this protocol, we can transfer files between computers, like we can send documents, photos, videos, etc. Guys, there is also Telnet protocol. Guys, Telnet stands for Telecommunication Network. It is a protocol that will allow user to connect to other computer over a network. I will give an example. Guys, for example, I am in India and my friend is in UK. I want to use my friend computer which is in UK. So simply by using Telnet protocol, we can connect to other computers which are in other locations and we can use. All these are various protocols in application layer. Next I will explain what is transport layer. Transport layer will send data without any errors. So main duty of transport layer is to detect and as well as correct errors. Transport layer contains 2 protocols. They are TCP and UDP. Where TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol and whereas UDP stands for User Datagram Protocol. Guys, TCP protocol will not send complete data at a time. Instead, it will divide data into various pieces and then it will send each piece. We call that piece as packet. So TCP protocol will send our data by splitting the data into small chunks and then it will send them in order. Guys, whenever we send data by using TCP protocol will check errors. That is why data will be sent to receiver correctly. As TCP protocol will check errors while transferring data, so TCP protocol is very slow. And next one is UDP protocol. UDP protocol will send data from one computer to other computer without checking any errors. That is why data transfer is very fast. And third one is internet layer. This layer is responsible for routing data from one computer to other computer if they are on different networks. As for example, my computer in India is considered as one network and my friend computer in UK is other network. Both networks can communicate each other by using internet layer. So internet layer will assign IP address, where IP stands for Internet Protocol Address for device, so that device can be identified in network. Along with internet protocol, internet layer also contains two other protocols. They are ARP and ICMP, where ARP stands for Address Resolution Protocol, and whereas ICMP stands for Internet Control Message Protocol. Guys, what ARP will do is, ARP will convert our IP address into physical MAC address. Guys, each and every device contains MAC address. By using that MAC address, we can identify devices. So at first, data is transferred using IP address, and later on, this IP address is converted into MAC address, so that receiver will read data. And next one is ICMP. Guys, ICMP is used to give error messages. For example, through IP address, data is reached to router, but after data reached to router, this router cannot find device. So at that time, ICMP will give error messages like device can't find. And last layer is network access layer. So network layer is combination of physical layer and data link layer from OSI model. Network access layer is responsible for sending data physically over the network. Thus, main duty of network access layer is to send data physically over a network. Physically mean either data is sent by using wires or wireless. So network access layer will decide how data should be sent over different types of networks. As TCP/IP contains only 4 layers, this model is simple to understand. So application layer deals with web browsers like Google Chrome, Firefox, and transport layer will ensure data is sent without errors or not. By using internet layer, data is sent between different networks. And whereas network access layer will send data physically over a network, that is either by using wires or wireless. Wireless mean we can send data by using Wi-Fi, and wired mean by using Ethernet cables we can connect to device and we can send data. So network access layer contains Wi-Fi and Ethernet, and internet layer contains protocols like IP protocol, ARP protocol and ICMP protocol, and transport layer contains TCP UDP protocols. Application layer contains Telnet, FTP, SMTP, HTTP and DNS protocols. This is all about TCP/IP model. Next I will explain similarities between TCP/IP and OSI reference model. Because by using both models, we can identify how device will communicate over a network. These are main similarities. And the first one is layered approach. Both TCP/IP and OSI, both are layered models. So both models uses layered approach to divide the communication process into smaller steps, making it easier to design and troubleshoot network. And second similarity is data encapsulation. Guys, each layer will add extra information to our data. For example, one layer will add sender MAC address and receiver MAC address, and other layer will add IP address. Like that, each layer will add extra headers to our data. So both models defines how data should be encapsulated at each layer before it moves to the next layer in communication process. And third similarity is each layer will perform certain functions. Guys, both in OSI model and TCP/IP model, each layer will perform certain tasks. These are three similarities between TCP/IP model and OSI reference model. Next I will explain difference between OSI model and TCP/IP model. Yes, OSI model contains 7 layers and TCP/IP model contains only 4 layers. OSI model contains application, presentation, session, transport layer, network layer, data link layer and physical layer. And whereas TCP/IP model contains application layer, transport layer, internet layer and network access layer. And whereas OSI model is reference model, just it is a theory concept, it is not implemented anywhere. And whereas if you consider TCP/IP model, internet was implemented by using TCP/IP model. So TCP/IP model is not a reference model, internet was implemented by using TCP/IP model. Whereas OSI model will say how data must be transferred over a network, and whereas TCP/IP model has done actual implementation, and that is actually internet was implemented by using TCP/IP model. Guys, in OSI model, each layer will perform certain tasks, and whereas in TCP/IP model, so many tasks are given to fewer layers. As there are only 4 layers, each layer must handle more tasks when compared to OSI model. Guys, in OSI model, application layer, presentation layer and session layer, these 3 are considered as application layers, and whereas in TCP/IP model, there is only one application layer. OSI model explains various protocols like HTTP, FTP, SMTP, etc. And whereas TCP/IP mainly focus on TCP protocol, IP protocol and UDP protocol. I already said before, OSI is reference model, and whereas TCP/IP is de facto standard. That is, in real world, How devices are communicated using internet? Guys, in OSI model, each and every layer will handle errors, and whereas in TCP/IP model, only transport layer will handle errors. In transport layer, that too TCP protocol will handle errors. These are differences between OSI model and TCP/IP model. Next, I will explain what is ARPANET. Guys, ARPANET stands for Advanced Research Projects Agency Network. As Advanced Research Projects Agency developed this network, that is why they give a name ARPANET, where ARPA stands for Advanced Research Projects Agency and NET stands for network. So ARPA was the first packet switched network developed in 1969 by ARPA, that is Advanced Research Projects Agency, and this agency belongs to US Department of Defense. By using this network, different computers can communicate and share resources. Guys, by using ARPANET, different computers can communicate each other, like they can share messages, they can share files, etc. And they can also share resources like printer, like all computers can use single printer. Guys, ARPANET was the first packet switching network. Before knowing what is packet switching, at first you need to know what is circuit switching. Guys, I will give one simple example so that you can clearly know difference between circuit switching and packet switching. For example, if you consider circuit switching, older telephone networks, they are examples of circuit switching. For example, in olden days we used landline phones in order to communicate with others. For example, if you want to communicate with your friend using landline phone, then we need cable connection. There is one cable connection need to be established between me and my friend. By using that cable connection, we can communicate with others. There is one dedicated line needed in order to establish connection. The dedicated line is nothing but cable. In circuit switching, that is, in older landlines, data is transferred very slowly and continuously. And if there is any cable break, entire connection will be lost. And by using circuit switching, we can communicate with only one person at a time. So old landline phones, they are examples of circuit switching. For example, if you consider packet switching, present 4G mobiles, they are examples of packet switching. Guys, the name itself says packet switching, that is, data is divided in the form of packets and they will reach to destination. For example, by using my 4G mobile, I will speak how are you. Guys, whenever I speak how are you, then data is divided in the form of packets like how is one packet, R is one packet and U is one packet. So these packets will find best route and they will reach to destination. So this how will find best route, R will find best route and U will find other route. After reaching to destination, they all will reassemble in order like this person will hear how are you. This is packet switching. Where in packet switching, data is divided in the form of packets and they will reach to destination, and after reaching destination, they will reassemble and person can hear correct message. When compared to circuit switching, in packet switching, data is transferred in the form of packets. So data transfer is very fast as each packet will find best route. This is difference between packet switching and circuit switching. So this first packet switching was introduced by ARPANET in order to overcome problem of circuit switching. So before ARPANET, computers used circuit switching like telephone networks. This method had problems, that is, a dedicated line was needed for communication. Only one person could communicate with other at a time. If the line fails, entire connection will be lost. Example, landline phones. In order to solve this problem, ARPANET introduced packet switching, where data is broken into small packets and sent separately. Packets will take different paths and reassemble at their destination. And multiple devices will use same network. Guys, for example, if you consider Airtel 4G, Jio 4G, all members will use same network connection in order to communicate. Next, I will explain design of ARPANET. We also call it as ARPANET architecture. ARPANET architecture contains two parts. They are hosts and subnets. Hosts are the computers that need to communicate. For example, I want to communicate with my friend. So my computer and my friend computer both act as hosts. Host is nothing but computer which will send information and which will receive information is known as host. So my computer is considered as host and my friend computer is also considered as host. So hosts are the computers that needed to communicate, and whereas subnet mean it is the network that connect to hosts. Guys, subnet is nothing but it is a network that will connect to hosts, and subnets contain two parts. They are IMPs and laser lines. Guys, IMPs are nothing but they are devices like routers. For example, if you consider router, by using router, we can connect to Wi-Fi and we can use. Guys, IMP stands for interface message processors. They are the devices like router. We also call this device as special mini computer. By using this device, hosts can communicate with each other. And subnet also contains laser lines. Laser lines are nothing but cable connections. By using laser lines, we can connect the IMP devices with host computers. Guys, this is ARPANET architecture. For example, this computer want to communicate with this computer, so we call these two computers as hosts. Guys, subnet stands for subnetwork. So subnet is nothing but it is a network that contain IMP devices and laser lines. For example, this computer want to send hello to this computer. So from laser line, that is from cables, data is transferred to this IMP device, and from this IMP device, data is transferred to any of this IMP device, and then data is transferred to destination host. And laser lines are nothing but they are cables which will connect to different IMP devices and host to IMP device. IMP device which is connected to sender computer, we call it as source IMP, and IMP device which is connected to destination computer, we call it as destination IMP. This is ARPANET architecture. ARPANET has two main parts. One is hosts, they are the computers that need to communicate, and second one is subnets. Subnet is the network that will connect to host devices. Subnet contains special many computers called IMPs, where IMP stands for integrated message processors. They will connect to host devices using laser lines. Guys, in this data transfer speed is 56 kb per second, and this IMP device is also connected to various other IMP devices. So even though if there is any connection fail, simply data will take to other path. Guys, for example, whenever I send hello, data is transferred from this device, and here there are two ways. For example, data is transferring from this path and there is cable break. So simply instead of this, data will take this path and data will successfully reach to destination. And in ARPANET, subnet is the network that contains two components. They are IMP devices, that is interface message processors. They are like actual many computers that act like routers. And second one is laser lines. Laser lines are nothing but cable connections which will connect IMP devices to each other. Okay, this IMP device is responsible to receive data from the host and break data into packets. As I already said before, ARPANET will use packet switching, where we will break message into packets and we will send each packet. So this IMP is also responsible to break data into packets, and also it is responsible to send packets to correct destination IMP. Guys, these are improvements in ARPANET, and the first one is host to host protocol. Guys, protocol is nothing but set of instructions. We call set of instructions as protocol. By using host to host protocol, computers can communicate to each other. And second one is application software. Guys, each computer need to install one special software in order to communicate with each other. So if you want to use ARPANET, you need one special software. And third one is terminal interface processor. Guys, in olden days, when ARPANET was first introduced, each IMP device is connected to single host computer for communication. Guys, in olden days, many terminals are nothing but devices with only keyboard and screen. We call it as terminal. So in olden days, many terminals are connected to single CPU, as each terminal acts as individual computer. In this case, if you connect IMP devices to the CPU, only this device will support network communication. Remaining computers cannot use network. So in order to overcome this problem, terminal interface processors are introduced, where without CPU, directly we can connect this device with monitors and we can use network. This is where they improved ARPANET. In the early ARPANET, one big computer, that is computer with CPU, could connect to the network using IMPs. Terminals, that is devices with only screen, keyboard and mouse, they don't have CPUs. The devices cannot connect directly to the network. So in order to overcome this problem, terminal interface processors are introduced, where this TIP device allows terminals to connect to the network. And fourth one is multiple host per IMP. Guys, multiple computers can connect to IMP devices. This is meaning of multi-hosts per IMP. And fifth one is one host connected to multiple IMPs. Guys, if you want very fast communication, then you can also connect your system with multiple IMP devices. So data will be transferred successfully. Even though if there is damage to one IMP device, other IMP device will transfer our data. And sixth one is long distance connectivity. Guys, if you see this diagram, there are multiple IMP devices in different locations, and all these devices are connected to each other in order to send data. Guys, this ARPANET is very slow. That is, it will transfer data only just 56 kb per second, because Based on ARPANET, Internet is introduced. Even in Internet, they used packet switching, where data is transferred in the form of packets. Next, I will explain what is Internet. The Internet is a large network of interconnected computers that allows people and organizations worldwide to communicate and share information. It connects millions of networks, including schools, offices, research centers, government agencies, and personal computers. Guys, Internet is one of the largest network. It will connect millions of networks worldwide. For example, I'm in India. By using Internet, just I will open WhatsApp and I will send message to my friend who is in UK. So by using Internet, devices can communicate worldwide. Guys, Internet is one of the largest network that will allow people and organizations worldwide to communicate. Like they can do phone calls, video calls, etc. And they can also share information, like they can share files, videos, movies, songs, etc. by using Internet. Guys, Internet is made up of many local area networks and wide area networks connected by routers, modems, and switching stations. Guys, if we connect to various kinds of LANs and WANs by using network devices like routers, modems, and switching stations, then all this together forms the Internet. The structure of Internet keeps changing as new connections are added every day. Guys, Internet don't have any fixed structure. Every day new connections will add to network. So Internet connection keeps changing. Guys, this is a simple example of Internet. Yes, for example, there is one manager. This manager has two companies. One company is in Delhi location and next company is in Hyderabad location. And this company will use star topology and this company will use bus topology. And in company 1, all devices are connected by using wide connection. And whereas in company 2, all computers are connected by using wireless connection. And this company will use different kinds of networking devices for connection. And this company also uses different kinds of network devices for connection. Though these companies have different structure and they are connected by using different kinds of devices, company manager can work from home by using wide area network and he can control both companies. This company 1 is local area network and this company 2 is local area network, and manager will connect to these two companies by using wide area network. All this together forms the Internet. This is the example of Internet. This WAN connection is switched, meaning it routes data through network devices as needed. Guys, based on need, data will be traveled through different kinds of network devices. The connection between each office and WAN is called a point-to-point WAN. The connection could be made through a DSL lines. Guys, DSL lines are nothing but they are cable connections which are provided by telephone companies. And WAN connection can also be established by using cable lines. These cable lines are provided by cable TV companies. Guys, here wide area connection is established by using DSL lines or cable lines. Guys, various kinds of cables are connected to telephone towers through which data will be traveled. And there are various kinds of TV towers in various locations and all are connected by using cables. So data will be traveled either by using DSL lines or cable lines. Yes, LAN is nothing but it is one software company where all devices are connected. And this company contains router and company router and outside router. Both are connected. We call this connection as point-to-point WAN. And there is another company. We call it as LAN, local area network. And company router and outside router. Both are connected. So we call it as point-to-point WAN. And this is manager's computer. He will connect a modem to his computer in order to access Internet. And this modem is connected to any other device outside the house. This connection is known as point-to-point WAN. This is structure of Internet. Next I will explain history of Internet. Guys, I already said before, Internet is developed based on ARPANET, which will work based on packet switching, where data will be transferred in the form of packets. So Internet started in 1969 as ARPANET, and this ARPANET was developed by ARPA, where ARPA stands for Advanced Research Project Agency. This agency belongs to US Department of Defense. Guys, in olden days, before ARPANET, devices with different manufacturers cannot communicate. For example, one computer is Dell computer and one computer is HP computer. If these two devices want to communicate with each other, they cannot communicate because this belongs to Dell manufacturer and this belongs to HP manufacturer. So these both devices cannot communicate with each other. So in order to overcome this problem, ARPA introduced ARPANET. Guys, mainly they introduced ARPANET in order to help researchers. As research companies will do various kinds of experiments and they will do various kinds of inventions and discoveries. In order to help them, they introduced ARPANET. Whenever scientists discovers anything, they can be transferred to other computers. That is why they introduced ARPANET. Before ARPANET, computers were standalone devices and could not communicate with each other, especially if they are from different manufacturers. ARPA want to communicate computers, so researchers will share discoveries, which will reduce cost and avoid repeating same research. Guys, if any scientist should discover anything, that information is forwarded to various kinds of researchers. So they will not do the same research. This is history of internet. At first in 1967, ARPA was introduced, where each computer was connected to specialized device called IMP, where IMP stands for Interface Message Processor. And whereas in 1969, ARPA connection was established between 4 universities in California using IMP devices. Guys, this is where first connection was established by connecting 4 universities in California by using IMP devices. At that time, they used one protocol. We call that protocol as Network Control Protocol, where protocol is nothing but set of instructions. In order to establish communication between devices, they need to use protocols. And that protocol was Network Control Protocol. And in 1972, Windkurf and Bob Kahn, these two researchers introduced Internetworking project, where later became the Internet. Guys, actually Internet stands for Internetworking. Whereas in 1973, Windkurf and Bob Kahn, they both developed TCP/IP protocol. At present, we are using TCP/IP protocol in Internet for communication, where TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol and IP stands for Internet Protocol. This protocol will allow different networks to communicate each other using Internet. This is all about history of Internet. Guys, by using 3 ways we can connect to Internet. And the first one is through schools or offices. Guys, many colleges and universities maintain high-speed Internet. So if you are a student or employee, you can access that Internet. And second one is through online information services. Guys, this is one of the oldest method. In olden days, some companies used to provide Internet. In order to use that Internet, you need to install one special software. In that software, you can access Internet. Guys, now no one is using this method. And third method to connect to Internet is through Internet service provider. Guys, if you consider Jio, Airtel, Active, ARPANET, they are Internet service providers. They will provide Internet connections. We need to pay money on monthly basis and we can use Internet. Guys, people can connect to this Internet by using Wi-Fi or by using mobile data. Guys, next I will explain features of Internet. Guys, Internet will provide many features and services for communication and information sharing. These are some of the features, and the first one is email. Guys, I already said before, Internet will use TCP/IP protocol. By using this protocol, we can send instant emails. Like in Internet, we can open Gmail and we can immediately send message. So by using Internet, we can send emails. And second one is Usenet news groups. Guys, by using Internet, we can conduct online discussions. Like we can post questions and we can get answers. And we can also get daily news and information. And third one is mailing lists. Guys, these mail lists are nothing but they are same like online discussions. Just online discussions are conducted using email. That's it. You need to subscribe to message groups, so you will receive daily emails. And fourth one is FTP. Guys, FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. Protocol is nothing but set of instructions. Guys, in Internet, we can transfer various kinds of files by using File Transfer Protocol. Like we can share songs, videos, movies, etc. by using Internet. It will be happened because of File Transfer Protocol. You can upload and download files in Internet using File Transfer Protocol. And fifth one is Gopher Protocol. By using this protocol, we can find a text-based information. Guys, in Internet, we can find different kinds of documents. By using Gopher Protocol, we can connect to different kinds of servers and we can download documents and we can get a text-based information. And last one is Telnet. Guys, by using Telnet protocol, we can connect to other computers by using Internet. For example, I am in Hyderabad and my friend is in Delhi. I want to see his computer and I want to store my files in his computer. I can do it by using Telnet protocol. All these are various features of the Internet. Next I will explain difference between Internet and Intranet. Guys, before this, you need to know what is Intranet. Guys, Intranet is private network. Guys, for example, there is a software company. In that company, this company established one separate network and only employees in this company can connect to this network. Outside people cannot connect to this network. So this is private network. Private means only company employees can access that network. Internet is a global network connecting millions of computers worldwide. Complete world can communicate by using Internet. Whereas Intranet is private network used within an organization. As everyone can use Internet, Internet is open to everyone. And whereas Intranet is restricted to employees, that is nothing but only company employees can use that network. Outside people cannot use that network. Mainly we use Internet for communication, like to do phone calls and video calls, and for information sharing, like we can share files, songs, etc. And also for entertainment, like in order to watch YouTube videos, in order to access Facebook, Instagram, etc. we will use internet. And whereas we will use intranet for internal communication and file sharing. Guys, only company employees can talk to each other and only company employees can share files. This is meaning of internal communication and file sharing. Guys, everyone can use internet, so it is less secure. Hackers can hack our data. So if you want to protect your data, we need firewalls and encryption techniques. And intranet is more secure because only company employees can access the data. So only authorized users can access it. Okay, these are examples of internet. That's Google, Facebook, Instagram, Wikipedia. All these are examples of internet because everyone can use them. In software company HR will share some files to other employee. This is example of intranet. These are differences between internet and intranet. Next I will explain internet architecture. Guys, if we connect different kinds of networks together, then we call it as internet. And all devices in internet can communicate to each other by using TCP/IP protocol. So every computer contains TCP/IP protocol through which computers can connect to internet by using this protocol. Guys, no matter hardware or software, everyone can use internet. For example, by using Google Chrome software, we can access any website. For example, there is any hardware device like mobile or tablet or any computer. Through any hardware device, we can access internet. So different devices and networks can connect to internet no matter what hardware or software they use. Guys, this is complete internet architecture. First one is client. Guys, for example, in my computer, I will open internet and I will open any website. Like I will type amazon.com. As my computer is sending request to get Amazon website, my computer acts as client. Guys, whenever I search for amazon.in, devices like modem or Ethernet card, they are networking devices. They will convert my request into signals. So modem and Ethernet card, they will process our signal. Guys, internet service providers like Airtel, Jio, ARPANET, they will provide us internet. So from Ethernet card or modem, our signals are transferred to loop carriers. Guys, loop carriers are nothing but they are telephone systems and TV towers. From these loop carriers, our data is transferred to internet service provider network. Guys, for example, if you consider internet service provider like Jio, by using various kinds of towers and by establishing various kinds of stations in each location and by using various kinds of devices, Jio network is covered worldwide. So from local loop carriers, our signals are transferred to internet service provider network like Jio network. Guys, point of presence is nothing but, guys, whenever your signals first enter to internet service provider region, then we call that entry point as point of presence. So POP is nothing but whenever our signal first enter to internet service provider region, we call it as point of presence. From this, our request is searched in internet service provider region. If our request is available, then directly ISP provider will provide us information. And if our request is not available, this ISP provider will contact to ISP backbone, like they will connect to other networks. Guys, whenever internet service provider connect to other network, we call that connection as NAP, that is network access point. It is the point where internet service provider will contact to other network. And by some private connections, this internet service provider backbone will provide information to client. Okay, this is corporate LAN, that is nothing but Amazon company local area network. Whenever I type amazon.in, we will get that website from Amazon company servers. We call that Amazon company network as corporate local area network. This is entire architecture. Next I will explain complete transmission media topic in computer network subject. I will explain all these types in detail. At first I will explain what is transmission media. Transmission media is the path through which data travels from a sender to a receiver. Guys, I will give an example. Guys, for example, I want to travel from Hyderabad to Bangalore. So I need a path. Path is nothing but way. On road, by using my vehicle, I will travel from Hyderabad to Bangalore. So a road is considered as path. Similarly, for example, I am in Hyderabad location. I am doing office work in my computer. I want to send some important office files to my friend who is in Bangalore location. As I am sending data, I act as sender and my friend is receiving data. So I act as receiver. So I need path in order to connect to these two devices. And we call this path as transmission media. So transmission media is nothing but it is a path which will connect to sender and receiver. So they can easily transfer files. And we can connect the devices by using wires or wireless. If we connect devices using wires, we call it as guided transmission media. And if we connect devices using wireless, we call it as unguided transmission media. So transmission media is the path through which data travels from a sender to a receiver. There are two types of transmission media. One is guided transmission media and second one is unguided transmission media. Guys, if you connect devices using physical medium like cables, then we call it as guided transmission media. It is wide. And if we connect devices using wireless, like using airwaves, radio waves or infrared waves, then we call it as unguided transmission media. I will explain this two in detail. At first, I will explain what is guided transmission media. Guided media uses physical cables to transmit signals. The signal travels as electromagnetic waves through the cable. Guys, I will give one simple example so that you can clearly understand what is guided transmission media. Guys, for example, I want to copy songs from my laptop to mobile. So what I will do is, I will connect my laptop with mobile using cable wire. As I am connecting these devices using cable wire, we call it as guided transmission media because it is wide connection. Wide is nothing but guided transmission media. So guided media uses physical cable to transmit signals. Guys, whenever I am copying data, data is traveled in the form of electromagnetic waves. Guys, we can't say electromagnetic waves. It will happen inside wire. So in guided transmission media, data is traveled in the form of electromagnetic waves through cable. Guys, there are three types of guided transmission media. They are twisted pair cable, coaxial cable and fiber optic cable. I will explain all these three. At first, I will explain what is twisted pair cable. Name itself says twisted pair cable. So pair is nothing but two wires. Twisting is nothing but combining two wires. So twisted pair cable contains two copper wires twisted together. Guys, if we twist two wires, then other signals will not interfere. That is why twisting reduces interference from other signals. And we will use twisted pair cables in telephone networks and LANs. Guys, this is twisted pair cable structure. We will take two wires with twisted length, that is how much length we want for twisting. We will take two wires for that length and we will do twisting of those two wires. This is structure. Guys, twisted pair cables are classified into two types. They are unshielded twisted pair, shortly we call it as UTP, and second one is shielded twisted pair, shortly we call it as STP. Guys, name itself says unshielded. There is no protection. There is no shield. So in unshielded twisted pair, there will not be any extra protection. Unshielded twisted pair is commonly used in Ethernet. Ethernet is nothing but LAN. Guys, if we connect all computers in one floor by using cables, then we call it as Ethernet. In order to connect computers in single floor, we use unshielded twisted pair. So in Ethernet, that is, in order to connect computers in single floor, we use unshielded twisted pair cables. And second one is shielded twisted pair. So in shielded twisted pair, we will cover two wires using metal sheet. So shielded twisted pair has extra shielding to reduce interference and it is used in older networks. Guys, this is structure of unshielded twisted pair. We will twist two wires and we will cover those two wires using plastic cover. And whereas in shielded twisted pair, we will twist two wires and we will cover that wires with metal shield and we will cover metal shield with plastic cover. So there will be extra protection. These are advantages of twisted pair cable and the first one is inexpensive. Guys, twisted pair cable comes with very less cost and second one is easy to install. We can connect twisted pair cables easily to devices. These are disadvantages of twisted pair cable and the first one is interference may occur. Guys, for example, if we talk in telephone networks, sometimes there will be signal break because of interference. So sometimes interference may occur. And second disadvantage is limited speed and distance. Guys, from twisted pair cables, data will travel very slow and we cannot connect these cables with long distance. Guys, if we connect two devices in short distance using twisted pair cable, then speed of data will be 1 GB per second. And if we connect devices in long distance, speed will be 4 MB per second. Guys, unshielded twisted pairs are classified into 5 categories. Category 1, which is used in old phone networks. Data speed is 1 MB per second, which is very slow. And category 2 is used in token ring networks. Token ring networks are older local area networks, which will connect a device in ring fashion. Here data speed is 4 MB per second. And category 3 is 16 Mbps, which is used in old Ethernet. Ethernet is like LAN, which will connect a device in single floor or building. and category 4 is 20 Mbps per second and category 5 is 100 Mbps per second. Present which we are using in local area networks like in colleges and offices. Guys, this is unshielded twisted pair where two wires are covered with plastic cover, and this is shielded twisted pair where two wires are covered with copper shield and this copper shield is covered with plastic cover. So there will not be any interference. Guys, next guided transmission media is coaxial cable. Guys, coaxial cable has four main components. They are inner conductor, insulating layer. We also call it as dielectric system. And there is outer layer and protective cover. Guys, we also call protective cover as jacket. So these are four main components in coaxial cable. And this coaxial cable is most preferred guided transmission media for transmitting signals. Coaxial cable contains two conductors. They are inner conductor, which is surrounded by dielectric system, or we also call it as insulating layer. And there is outer conductor surrounded by jacket. We also call jacket as protective cover. Outer conductor is covered with protective shield called jacket. It basically protects inner conductor from electromagnetic interference that carry the electric signals. Guys, outer conductor is covered with a protective shield called jacket. Because of the jacket, electromagnetic waves will not go out. Guys, this is structure of coaxial cable. There are four components. Guys, one is inner conductor. This is copper wire. And there is insulating layer. We also call it as dielectric system. It is like plastic material which will separate inner conductor and outer conductor. And outer conductor is covered with jacket. Because of this jacket, electromagnetic signals will not go out. Guys, coaxial cables are classified into two types. They are flexible coaxial cable and second one is rigid coaxial cable. Flexible coaxial cable is most commonly used, and whereas rigid coaxial cable is used for specialized applications. It consists of woven thread sheet, usually made of copper wire. Guys, these are advantages of coaxial cable. Guys, if you use coaxial cable, other signals will not interfere. So our message will pass smoothly. So there is less interference. And when compared to twisted pair cables, coaxial cable can transmit data over long distance. These are disadvantages of coaxial cable. And the first one is more expensive than twisted pair cables. Guys, when compared to twisted pair cables, coaxial cables are costly. And it is hard to install coaxial cables. Guys, coaxial cables are used in cable TVs and internet connections. And we also use these coaxial cables in some telephone and Ethernet networks. Ethernet is nothing but local area network. Third unguided transmission media is fiber optic cable. Name itself says fiber optic. So this cable is made up of glass or plastic fiber. So it is made up of glass or plastic fiber that transmits data as a light signals. Guys, in fiber optic cable, data is transferred in the form of light signals. So it is very fast and support long distance communication. Guys, this is structure of fiber optic cable. It contains mainly three components. They are core, cladding and jacket. Core is nothing but it is the glass fiber through which data is transferred in the form of light signals. From core, data is transferred in the form of light signals. And second one is cladding. This layer will surround the core so that light signals will not go out. And third one is jacket. Jacket is nothing but outer protective cover. It is basically made up of plastic. So fiber optic cable contains three components. They are core, cladding and jacket. Core is nothing but it is a glass fiber through which data is transferred in the form of light signals. And cladding means this is layer that is present on top of core. It will not allow light signals to go out. Cladding will keep light signals inside. And next one is jacket. Outer protective cover, basically made up of plastic. These are advantages of fiber optic cable. And the first one is very fast. Guys, when compared to twisted pair cable and coaxial cable, fiber optic cable will transfer data very fast. That is up to 10 GB per second and even more. And second one is it will transfer data over longer distance. Guys, electrical signals will not affect fiber optic cable. And these are disadvantages. And the first one is expensive. When compared to remaining cables, this fiber optic cable is expensive. And second one is difficult to install and maintain. This cable is very difficult to connect to devices and maintenance is very tough. These cables are used in internet backbones and telephone networks, and they are also used for medical imaging and also for decorative lighting. Guys, fiber optic transmissions are classified into two types. They are multimode fiber and single mode fiber. In multimode fiber, there will be multiple light waves, and multimode fiber is used for shorter distance communication. Multimode fibers are classified into two types. They are step index multimode and graded index multimode. In step index multimode, light will bounce inside the core. Guys, I already said before, this is core. Inside this, there will be multiple light signals that will bounce inside. This is structure. There are multiple light rays through which data will travel. That is why we call it as multimode fiber. And second multimode fiber is graded index multimode. In graded index multimode, light will move smoothly for better performance. So this is sender, you can give any structure, and this is receiver, you can give any structure, and this is how light rays will pass inside the core. And in this, light waves will move smoothly for better performance. And second fiber optic transmission is single mode fiber. The name itself says single mode. So there will be only single light path through which data will travel. It is suitable for longer distance communication as there is only single path through which data will travel. So data will travel smoothly. So there is only single path where data will travel smoothly. So it is high speed and travels long distance and it will give better performance. So this is sender, this is receiver. Data will travel smoothly for long distance in single light path. Next I will explain difference between fiber optic cable and copper wire. And the first difference is fiber optic has very high bandwidth. Guys, bandwidth is nothing but amount of data that can be transferred over the cable. We call it as bandwidth. So high bandwidth means there is a high amount of data that can be traveled using the cable. And copper wire has limited bandwidth. So less amount of data will be traveled using cable. Fiber optic cables are more expensive and copper wires are less expensive. And these cables are light in weight, so they will occupy less space. And copper wires are heavy weight, so they will occupy more space. Fiber optic cables has high strength and copper wires has low strength. Guys, in fiber optic cable, though if cable length is very high, there is no loss of signal. And whereas in copper wire, if cable length is very high, then there is chance for loss of signal. Fiber optic cables are updating day by day. So these are fast developing technology. And at present, copper wire don't have any developments. So it is steady state developing technology. And fiber optic cables are high safety and copper wires are low safety. These are differences between fiber optic cable and copper wire. Next I will explain unguided transmission media. We also call it as wireless transmission media. Guys, transmission media is nothing but it is the path through which data is transferred from sender to receiver. Unguided transmission media means transferring data from sender to receiver wireless. For example, I will on Bluetooth and then I will transfer my files from my mobile to laptop. This is one of the example of wireless transmission because I am using Bluetooth. For example, by using remote, I will access my TV as TV and remote both are connected wireless. This is example of unguided transmission media. So wireless transmission media does not use physical wires to send signals. Instead, it transmits signals through air, vacuum and seawater. Guys, vacuum is nothing but it is a space that do not contains anything. It don't contain air and any other particles. We call that space as vacuum. So data can be transferred either using air, vacuum or seawater in wireless transmission media. Guys, there are different types of wireless signal propagation. Propagation is nothing but the way waves travel. We call it as propagation. Waves can be traveled either using vacuum or air or seawater. At first I will explain what is ground wave propagation. Guys, whatever the signals that travel on our Earth's surface, we call it as ground wave propagation. So in ground wave propagation, signals travel along the surface of the Earth. These signals have low frequency. Guys, frequency is nothing but how many times wave repeat. We call it as frequency. If waves repeat more, then data transfer will be very fast. If waves repeat slow, then data transfer will be very slow. And this ground wave propagation covers long distance. And second one is skywave propagation. Signals that are transmitted to the ionosphere, which reflect them back to the Earth. We call it as skywave propagation. Skywave propagation uses uplink frequency and downlink frequency. In uplink frequency, signals are transmitted from Earth to ionosphere, whereas in downlink frequency, signals are transmitted back from ionosphere to Earth. Guys, ionosphere is nothing but it is layer which is present in sky. It contains ions. This ionosphere is far away from Earth. It is in between range from 50 kilometers to 1000 kilometers. This ionosphere basically contains ions which helps in transferring signals. And third one is line of sight propagation. Guys, for example, there are two antennas and signals will travel in straight line. Guys, in line of sight propagation, signals will travel between two antennas in a straight line. This method is used for high frequency communication like satellite and mobile networks. Guys, high frequency is nothing but waves will repeat more number of times. So data transfer will be very fast. And this line of sight propagation is used in mobile networks and satellites. Okay, these are some of the reasons why we need wireless communication. And the first one is useful in emergency like floods and earthquake. Guys, wireless signals will transmit data very fast. So in emergency conditions like floods and earthquake, we can use wireless communication. Guys, for example, if you consider wide transmission media, we need to purchase wires in order to establish connection. So when compared to wide connection, as wireless communication don't require any expensive infrastructure, so it is cost efficient. And third one is, can handle a sudden increase in users without additional equipments. Guys, if there are so many users in wide transmission media, then we need to purchase more cables. But whereas in wireless, even though if users increases, then there is no need of additional equipments. Next, I will explain various types of wireless transmission media. And the first one is electromagnetic waves. Wireless communication uses electromagnetic waves for signal transmission. Guys, whatever waves that this wireless transmission media contains, we can't see that waves. Just data will be transferred by using waves. We can't see those waves. Guys, electromagnetic waves contain radio waves. Radio waves are used in radio and television broadcasting, and they also contain microwaves, which are used in satellite and mobile communication, and they contain infrared waves. They are used in remote control. By using infrared waves, our TV remote will transfer signals to TV. And infrared rays also used in shorter range communications. And next one is visible light waves. I already explained fiber optic cables. We will use light waves in fiber optics. Next one is UV rays, X-rays and gamma rays. We will not use all these rays for communication, so there is no need to discuss. Guys, all these electromagnetic waves can be traveled either using air, vacuum or seawater. Guys, I already explained what are radio waves. Guys, radio waves are used for radios and television signals, and they does not require antennas to work. They will work using ground wave propagation and sea wave propagation. They are used in navigation systems. And third one is terrestrial microwave transmission. Guys, they will use tall antennas for direct communication. Signals will be transmitted in one line using antennas. They were used for TV and telephone communications. Guys, these microwaves act as backbone for mobile networks. And frequency range is 1 GHz to 40 GHz. And fourth one is infra transmission. Guys, I already explained all this before. Infra transmission is used for short distance communication like wireless keyboards, TV remotes, etc. Guys, this is more secure because they cannot pass through walls. Guys, infra transmission will work based on infrared ports. They are present in mobiles, printers and smart TVs. And last one is light wave transmission. Guys, light wave transmission will use laser beams for communication. They have high bandwidth and low cost, and they will work based on weather conditions. If weather condition is like rain or fog, they won't work well.